Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:36. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Vice President Ferguson, could you do the invocation, please?
Yes, please. Good evening, everyone. Father God, we just give you the glory and the honor. We thank you for your greatness, your goodness, and your mercy. We thank you that you're the great I am and that you are our protector, our Jehovah Jireh, our provider. And Father God, we ask that you would be in the midst of this meeting, Father God. We just thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to be able to meet together and do the business of the city. We ask that you would bless each and every participant, their families, and the employees of this city, the citizens, and all who's affiliated with this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Good evening. Councilwoman Fareed?
Here.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Here.
Councilman Hairston? Councilman Herring?
Here.
Councilwoman Jones?
Here.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Here.
And Council President Curtis.
Here. We have a quorum. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Herring?
Looking at the new agenda, there's 3 resolutions on here that did not come before a public hearing for personnel appointments. Those need to come off. Charter requires a public hearing for all resolutions prior to them being voted on.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Council President.
Yes. Ms. Jones? Councilwoman Jones?
Yeah, I understand what Councilman Herring is saying, but because they are personnel, the public would not be privy to any of the information for their personnel records or personnel documents.
Okay. So I'm in agreement with Councilwoman Jones as it relates to documents. However, I also understand that, the charter says resolutions must come before a work session and public hearing. However, I welcome other council members' thoughts on this. These resolutions are not needed as it relates to the Charter Review Committee. The Charter Revisement puts before the council appointments of agency heads. All subordinates go through the city manager, and the city manager does not have to present those to the council for approval. So technically, these resolutions aren't needed at all.
Mr. President, may I?
Sure, Councilman Herring.
Actually, they are. Section 901 of the charter was not changed. And if you look at the charter resolution that was submitted, it has asterisks where 901 would be. I mean, that section was not changed. That section says that all appointments have to go through the council on a recommendation of the city manager. That was not changed. That was left the same. I'm looking at the charter amendment right here, and it's section 901 was not changed at all. So that stays the same in the charter. So the positions would have to still go through recommendation by the city manager and approval by the council. Even in the new version that we amended, it still has that section in there.
So I have the new one, and it does not require it.
You do not have the new one, because if you're looking at it.
No, I have the new one, and I can take a look at yours.
What page?
Page, hold on, let me pull it back up. I was just on it. I think it was page 10 of 32. And it's before it had that all subordinates, officers, employees of the office, and departments, agency heads would have to go through council appointments, but now it no longer requires that. Do you see it on page 10?
Nope.
Page 10. Let's see.
It says, if you're looking at 10, is it number C? Exercise administrative control over all city departments and agencies?
It's all under powers and duties, 503, the city manager shall, and yes, A, B, and I think, yep, C.
Recommend to the council appointment and removal of department and agency heads. He recommends to the council appointment and removal.
Appointment.
So he can recommend it, but he cannot hire them. The council has to approve those appointments. And that follows along with section 901, which was not changed, that says that the council will appoint and remove all employees in the charter,
But
in the city.
it says of department and agency heads.
He shall recommend to the council appointment and removal of department and agency heads and all subordinate officers of the agencies of the city government. And it said, but then when you go to 901, which was not changed,
I don't see it, 901.
if you go to 901, which was not changed, it says that the council has to approve all all positions.
Yeah, so this,
And that's in the new version too.
so, okay, so I understand what you're saying. In this, it says, in the brackets, it says, and subordinate officers and employees of the offices, department, and agency heads. If you look at the bottom of the pages, because if you remove it one place, they're removing it everywhere else. It says, bracket face indicate language deleted from the charter of the city of Glenarden. So everything in that bracket was what was deleted. It was only put in there so you know what it was there before.
Okay, and then if you look at the bottom, you see those 3 asterisks. It says, indicate language contained in the charter of the city of Glenarden that remains unchanged, is not reproduced in this charter amendment resolution. That's section 901.
No, it's throughout the document.
No, it is not throughout. It's section 901. And if you look throughout the document, there's asterisks where whole sections of the charter had not been changed. And section 901 has not been changed. That was not, might have been an oversight, but right now, that section 901 says that the council has to approve all all positions, department heads and everything else in section 901. That was not changed in the charter.
I respectfully disagree.
But you don't have the charter either. You don't have section 901 either, do you?
Well,
No, do you have, okay, go to page 25.
25? I'm on 25.
You see those 3 asterisks? And you see 901 is not there. So that means that 901 has not been changed because they have asterisks there. They're not going to put it in there when it's not changed. So it's there. They say they're not including it in this document. So 901 isn't there, but so it hasn't been changed. And that's the way it is throughout this whole document. If there's asterisks there, that chapter has not been changed. And if you go to 901 in our current charter, it says that they have to be approved by the city council.
Okay.
We can look at this. Go to the next page, 903. Then it skips to 907. It has asterisks in between there. Not 904, 905, and 906 has not been changed. That's why they had the asterisks there, because we didn't change the whole charter. So according to 901, you have to abide by 901, which means all positions are required to be approved by the council. That's still in the charter.
Okay.
Both sections.
Thank you. Councilwoman Fareed?
Thank you, Council President. Do we have a resolution for every employee in the city at this point? Is there a documented resolution for every person?
No.
No.
So let me
But
ask a
according to how it's being stated, then it sounds like we should have had that, right? But that hasn't been the practice.
You should have had it.
Okay. So I see the charter one way. I respectfully accept your dissent, but I just the charter has been amended to remove subordinates from coming to the council.
Mr. President, please stop misleading the citizens because that has not been removed. Section 901 is still in place. And will you pull up Section 901 and read it?
I'm not misleading the
You are
citizens.
misleading the citizens. You're misleading the citizens. You come here and you give these you make these statements that are not true because you want to believe it and you want to move something forward that shouldn't be moved forward. The charter is the law, and my thing is, I would rather err on the side of caution and follow the law than to sit there and say something is not true when you know it isn't. There's a part that if the charter is contradicting itself, then it's contradicting itself. But again, that was the issue before. And it really isn't contradicting itself. It's just saying that the city manager can recommend and approve in that section, but when you go to 901, it says that all appointments and hires shall be approved and removed by the city council. And that's what you gotta have. You can't just ignore the law when it's on paper. Because you don't see it and you refuse to look at it, doesn't mean it's not so. It is so.
So a couple things, and I'll come to Vice President Ferguson. So I respect your opinion. I wish that we can disagree without accusations that I'm trying to mislead the citizens when I'm not, or that I'm refusing to do something when I'm not. Just because we have a difference of opinion does not mean that I'm trying to do something nefarious. It's just that we interpreting something different. That's it. That there's nothing malicious behind it, or Mr. Aaron, or nefarious behind it. With that, Vice President Ferguson.
Thank you, Council President. This question is directed to Councilman Herring. So, given that we've had two, I would say, major appointments in the police department, a captain and a lieutenant, what do you suggest they are actually functioning in that position? Their supervisor, which is the chief, sent out an email, I think it was March 31st, 2025, stating that they were, they had gotten those positions. Those positions were not, well, they were promotions for the people, the two that qualified for the position, but it was not actually, I would not classify it as a promotion. It was a selection of a job. It was a hire because those positions were advertised. So we had nothing to do with it. When we found out that we as the council found out that they were appointed those positions, it was in that email, and we didn't interview, we didn't do anything or say yea or nay. So what do we do now that they are sitting in those positions, and we did not do that?
I mean, just a resolution should come for them. They were already acting in the positions anyway, and they were already getting paid the salary, I'm assuming, in those positions, correct, Mr. Simpson?
Yes, they were in the
So, I
acting
mean,
role.
with those positions, they already were put in those positions. They should, the city manager does have the authority to hire temporarily in those positions for up to 6 months without council approval, because he can't fill vacant positions temporarily. But they still need a charter to be legally hired permanently. Because I just think we need to follow the code. We need to follow what the law is. Now, again, that was the charter resolution that was brought forth, that amended Section 901. And so they can maintain that as you can still keep them as acting, or you can keep them there as a temporary position until we get this past the legislation. But I think we need to follow the law as the law is written. And because you can't read one part of the law and not read the other. You can't just sit there and ignore Section 901 because you're saying it doesn't, and especially when you got a charter, a piece of document, in front of your face that says anything with an asterisk has not been changed. So that means you got to go back to the original charter to see what that section says. You can't just skip over it and say, okay, I see the section, but I see this asterisk, but I'm not going to go read 901. And that's what's really frustrating me is that, and that's why, Mr. President, I'm saying what I'm saying, because again, you're not even taking the time to go look at Section 901 and see what it says. You're just simply saying it doesn't exist, and this is what the rule is. And that's not the way this is written. That's not the way the charter is written. The charter is our laws. We took an oath to uphold these laws, whether we like them or not. And I don't see what the big issue is. I mean, you can bring it to a public hearing and come back 6 days later and vote on it. We do everything else by Zoom. I'm just saying follow the requirements of the law that we took an oath to uphold and we voted on to adhere to.
And so I'm asking, being that we're here now, and one of the things that Councilwoman Fareed did ask, and like I think originally I thought it was division heads that we would have input. Of course, we're reading something different, but my thing is now, I mean, there's no such thing as unhiring somebody to put them back on temporary duty. So they are actually in, if I'm not mistaken, actually have been hired, got in that position. So all their paperwork and they are hirees in that position. They're not acting. So one has nothing to do with the other. So and then again, I guess for the record, I guess we just failed all the way across the board, because anybody that was hired in these recent years, whether they was in code enforcement, whether they was in public works, finance or whatever, we did not, anybody that was not a division, department head, we did not have anything to do with, we were just told that they were hired. So I guess, is there, in your opinion, something that we need to do, or just let that go and just go ahead and pass the legislation? Because we cannot unhire them, because if that's the case, we would be firing them. Because they are actually, am I correct, are they actually hired now? Or are they still, temporary, acting?
They have been promoted into the particular positions. Yes.
From April 14th.
They have
From
been
the
hired.
14th, they have been promoted into those two particular positions.
Okay.
For the record, I would like to say they were selected from they were selected and they were hired.
Yes.
It's a promotion to them, yes, but promotion is usually within, it's not advertised. So they actually were hired.
Yeah.
Thank you, Council President.
Okay,
I don't know
so-
what we're gonna do.
I will stick by my opinion. I'm only one of 7 opinions. So that's just my opinion. So just because I view something or interpret something one way does not mean that the entire council is going to vote or will have the same mindset as I do, and I respect that. And so with that, I'll leave it up to the council to weigh in whether these actually need to come in or not.
Mr. President?
1 second, I'll come to
Okay.
you. The email was sent out, and if we are going to remove these resolutions, which is fine, I agree with you, Councilman Herring. If it's an actual resolution, then it should come, like the charter says, before the work session and public hearing, then it should go that route. I agree with that part. I just disagree with the charter resolution that has been passed and voted on and is now enacted, that these appointments should even come to us. So that's my opinion. I'm not saying that is how it's going to go. I'm saying that the rest of the council members can weigh in on their opinion, and the majority rules. So with that, Councilman Herring, and then
Yeah, let
you
me
close
just
it
say
out,
this.
and then we'll go on to the agenda.
As an elected official, we have to look at the law in totality, from beginning to end. If something's been changed, we got to look at the law with what hasn't been changed. Now, CRO 1/2022 reads just like this, and it was passed by 7 council members. The city may employ such officers and employees as it deems necessary to execute the power and duties provided by this charter or other state law, and to operate the city government, notwithstanding any other provision of this charter. All heads of all offices, departments, and agencies of the city, and all subordinate officers, employees of the offices, departments, and agencies of the city government shall, upon recommendation of the city manager, shall be appointed and removed by the council. So that's what's in place right now, and that's what Section 901 says. It was voted on by all 7 council members. So that's what we have to adhere to, because that was not changed. And even though it says in the beginning that the city manager appoints, and it basically gives them the same authority in the section that was changed, but it gives us more authority in Section 901. And so those should have been addressed when we changed the charter. But again, as elected officials, we do not have the opportunity, we do not have the right to sit there and say, I'm going to just look at this one section, I'm going to ignore the rest. Because it is a clear violation of the charter if we don't do that. And we should have been doing this all the time. And I'm going to ask Mr. Simpson, did I speak to you about this appointment? We had
sorry?
a conversation about that, about the assistant city manager.
Yes.
And I said it should come the same way that you came.
Yes, you did. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, Councilman Herring, respect your opinion. The the council will rule however it rules. If 4 other council members feel, 3 other council members feels the same way, then it'll go through the same process in May, and that's fine. I just disagree, and I think that the council is far too deep into the operation sides of things, and I think that we should be legislators and not operators. But I am in agreement with you to remove these resolutions from the current agenda. Is there any opposition to the recommendation to remove the resolutions?
Council President,
Yes.
as long as we're going to set a date to have a public hearing so they can be heard and the matter can be settled.
That's if the council decides that they should be resolutions at all. So there are 2 things.
Okay.
Removing resolutions is fine. We can remove them. I agree with Councilman Herring that they should go through the proper protocol. The second part of that is I don't think they should be resolutions at all. So I don't think the city manager needs our approval to hire the assistant city manager. But should the council deem that 4 members say that it should, then it will just be on the docket for May, and that's fine. Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes, Council President. Regardless of whether it's a department head or an appointee or whatnot, I think the point is you don't have to have a resolution in order to approve the appointment of someone. Not every action that the council takes is done by resolution. The only thing that's required by law to have a resolution is a charter change. So we can choose to not have a resolution for this and just go ahead and affirm city manager's recommendation of who should be city manager without a resolution. Personally, I don't know that it would make sense to even bring this forward to a public hearing because the city, the people have not been privy to the interview process or had any opportunity to review the resumes, et cetera. So I'm not really sure what the public would be opining on in terms of, who the choice for the city manager is. Like I said, we do take many actions, even use of the gold room space. We never bring those to a resolution. Like if we're going to do a gratis, we just say we agree, we take consensus and we do that. So I don't think that a resolution is necessary, and therefore I don't think it's necessary for us to bring work session, a public hearing, and then a regular hearing as we typically would bring forward resolutions. So I'm in favor of removing these as resolutions and just moving forward with the majority confirmation that was done via email. I think it was last week. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With that, is there any other adjustments to the agenda?
So I'm going to ask, is the American Legion on or off?
They decided to just leave the flyers that have an announcement made by the council, and then they'll be here next week.
Next week?
I'm sorry, next regular session.
All right.
Okay. All right. So is there?
So that's coming off the agenda.
What's coming off?
It's on the agenda.
Well, it was in citizens' comments, so they're just not going to. Okay. Well,
just take it off, just to take it off.
Okay. Removal of not the Urban League, the American League. Thank you, American Legion, and the 3 hiring resolutions. Any oppositions to us passing the amended agenda? Hearing none by unanimous consent, the agenda is hereby adopted.
Yeah, I meant to ask for a voice vote. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. All right. Moving forward, the first item on the agenda is a motion to, I'm sorry, not a motion to adopt the agenda, is a presentation by the Honorable Senator Joanne Benson. Ms. Benson, Senator Benson. Hello. You're up. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Can you make sure the mic is on for her, please? And if you could just come to this podium here.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
So that the people online can hear you. Do you need any help with anything? I'm good. Okay. Hello.
First of all, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to come here tonight. I'm just overwhelmed with joy that I'm able to be here. Just to let you know, before the session began, I decided that I would sneak off and take a few days of rest, which is what I did. I came back on a on a Sunday, and Monday morning I started coughing. And I coughed and coughed and coughed, and Tuesday I lost my voice. Now that, a lot of people were happy about that, let's be clear on that. But I lost my voice for 2 days. I went directly to the doctor, and they ran some tests only to discover that I had fluid in my chest, not in the lungs, but in my chest. It was as a result of a cold that I encountered when I went on my vacation. And so he said to me, Senator Benson's going to take a while for this fluid. It's a rare kind of fluid that's in your chest. It's going to take a little while for it to get out of your chest. And you're going to have a raspy voice and this and that. Well, he's true to his word. But in the course of getting rid of the fluid, I had a problem with swollen ankles. Couldn't believe it. In my years of living, I've never, ever had a problem with swollen ankles. Never in my life. So that slowed me down in Annapolis, but I kept it moving. And so I understand what it's like to be disabled. I know what it's like to call on your staff and your friends to help you along. It was a very, very wonderful experience and lesson. I said wonderful, because sometimes you have to go through these trials and tribulations to understand how blessed you really are. I'm here tonight because I want to roll back for you all just a little history, if I may, about Glenarden. As you all know, that when I became a member of the House of Delegates, Senator Wayne Bucky Trotter was the senator. And so we developed a wonderful working relationship. But I sat down with him, I sat down with Marvin Wilson, I sat down with Jim Fletcher, I sat down with Tommy Broadwater, and we talked about Glenarden. And he told me something that was very, very striking, and I'll never forget. He said, let me tell you, 2 things happened here that created a big problem for Glenarden. One was this highway right here, Martin Luther King Highway. It separated the community. And then the worst part was the 495, further separated Glenarden. And he talked to me about how they went into the woods. He and Marvin Wilson and a few people went into the woods once they were told that 495 was going to come through Glenarden, and how they went into the woods and spent most of the day just crying about it because they could not influence the great state of Maryland not to do it. It was a combination of the state of Maryland and the federal government. And I remembered what they said, and I said to him, well, I'm going to continue to work very closely with you all so that we will never have this kind of problem that will impact our community in Glenarden again. Glenarden is probably one of the most impacted communities in the county, and we're not going to deal with that. As we go along, comes the maglev. I'm sure you all know the story, where we gathered at the high school, Flowers High School, to express our opinion and opposition to maglev. We were not, you all need to understand clearly that we were not arguing about the train. We were arguing about the path of the train. And if we had agreed, the train would have come through Glenarden and approximately 1,300 homes would have been displaced. Now, if you really want to get an idea as to what could have happened had we sat back and allowed it to happen, go down Kenilworth Avenue to Hyattsville. Go to East-West Highway. Drive down. I want you to do that. That will give you some idea as to what could have happened in this community, but we said it's not going to happen. And so the delegates and I have kept a laser eye on what has happened, not only in Glenarden, but in Prince George's County, the 24th Legislative District in particular. We have had contact with our municipalities, and I must tell you all that some wonderful things are happening in our municipalities. I want to talk a little bit about Glenarden here. What you may not know is right across the street is a elementary school with a population of close to 700 children. I'm going to ask this council, this mayor, this community to take a hard look at how those students are assigned to that school for next year. They're coming all the way over from East-West Highway down Kenilworth Avenue, up 202 and into the school. That's not right. I'm going to see the superintendent if I can. I've asked for a meeting with him on Thursday to talk to him about Judge Sylvania Woods. But to help with the problem, the 202 Coalition and the Umbrella Group have assigned volunteers and workers with a grant who are working in Judge Sylvania Woods. You'll be pleased to know that. When the weather was cold, by the end of March, we delivered 240 coats. We have a team from Shabbat that's going in. Many wonderful things are happening to help raise the bar for families in that school. Because if we can do it at Glenarden Elementary School, we can do it at Judge Sylvania Woods. And so I'm going to ask this town, the mayor and the council and everybody else to take a more active role at Judge Sylvania Woods. I want you all to do that. That is extremely important. In Annapolis, Maryland, I will tell you that I've been in Annapolis about 30 years. This has been the most comprehensive, busy. I just don't have the words to describe it. This has been probably one of the most interesting years that we have had in Annapolis. This is our 447th session. It just came to an end. I want to tell you that it was fast, it was busy, and a lot of the bills that we felt to be very important did not pass. We did apply for 4 grants. But for Glenarden, this $4 million that you are receiving for the police station didn't just happen. You all know that we are tight. Our budget is tight in Annapolis, very tight. Very tight. But this started before the former chief of police passed away. He met with us and asked us to help with the police station. But it wasn't just that, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't just stop there. I said, no, this is too personal for the people of Glenarden, and they deserve better. Because whether you know it or not, in order for when this chief makes an arrest, when his officers make an arrest, you know what happens? If they're at Wagner's up anywhere in Glenarden, they have to take that person all the way down to Upper Marlboro and book them. That's not fair to the police department. It's not fair to the citizens. That's not right. And so what I did was I personally went to the person who handles that $67 billion budget that we just passed. And I invited him, along with the chief, to come up to take a look at the police station. Some of you were there. You were invited. We asked you to come and walk with the chair of the Budget and Taxation Committee. He walked through, and his remarks to me was, Senator Benson, this is very unacceptable. With the population that you have in the city of Glenarden, and with all you have to deal with up in the shopping center, and with all the responsibilities that the police department have to handle, no. I said, listen, we're going to ask for $2 million this year, and then next year, which was this year, we're asking for another $2 million. Now, I want you all to know that it was not easy. It was not. The delegates and I, listen carefully, worked 7 days a week. We were there on Sundays, working to be sure that that $2 million stay in that budget because of the reputation of the police department. If you talk to anybody outside of Glenarden, they have nothing but rave reviews about this police department and its chief. I'm telling you all what the Lord loves. I'm not here to choose sides with anybody, but I'm here to tell you the truth. And so, we worked diligently to get that to, we now have $4 million. I went back, once we found out that we had received the $2 million, we went back to the chair of the Budget and Tax Committee and said, listen, you've given us $4 million. We have another $1 million. We are going to come back next year. We're going to see how this money goes and how the project goes in Glenarden. Senator Benson, that's going to be the choice of you and the delegates. We want a smooth operation when it comes to this police station. Now I have to tell you all, we have had a couple of people that's given us heartburn. I may as well tell you all the truth about it. We have had a couple of people that have tried to stand in the way of this police station that we are fighting so hard for. You don't find that in College Park. You don't find that in Bowie. You don't find that in Laurel. And we are arguing and bickering. And guess what? Those $4 million are nickel and dime. If you don't believe me, go look at the budget. We cannot have anybody in this city interfere with what we're trying to do to raise the bar. Not for any of us in this room. It's for our children, for future generations. It's for our children. We don't have time for the petty bickering and carrying on. Because after a while, all of us will be gone. And it's our responsibility to work. I'm not concerned about, I've always told people, I can't be concerned about who likes me and who doesn't like me. What I'm concerned about is raising the bar and ensuring that our children and our senior citizens and the working people in Glenarden are taken care of. It's not just Glenarden, but I want you all to know that Capitol Heights, prime example. You ought to talk with that mayor and the council in Capitol Heights. They are doing a fabulous job. Fabulous. Our municipalities are doing a wonderful job. And we've got to cut the foolishness out, band together, and move the agenda. Because this agenda is bigger than all of us. And so we're going to receive the additional $2 million. Ardmore is going to receive money for its playground. We've got about 4 grants that are going to come through, and I'm very, very happy about that. And I'm going to be meeting, as I said, I'm going to meet with the superintendent, and I'm also going to be meeting with the chair of Budget and Taxation so that we can start talking about how we can work closer together to get more money for projects that I had requested and the delegates had requested. So we are prepared to do whatever we can to help you in every way in every way that we can. We're willing to do it. We're going to be sending out newsletters. We're working on them. We're going to be working on them. Hopefully by the end of this week, we will have our newsletters ready. But we've just been so busy, just tying up loose ends and being sure that some of the bills that we had requested. I'm going to close my mouth here in a few minutes. I want to talk about 3 bills that I'm very, very concerned about. One had to do with cell phones. We had talked to parents, we talked to educators about cell phones in classrooms. And what we did was we went to Baltimore, met with the superintendent, and the data shows that with the cell phones, in 2017, I put a bill in, and the bill was not heard. So then we come back this year to put a bill in asking for a study. The bill did not pass. And we're very, very, very disappointed that bill did not pass. But I'm going to be, like I said, I'm going to be meeting with the chair of the Budget and Taxation to see what we can do in the way of taking a closer look at that, because that has been something that parents and teachers and everybody have been very concerned about. There are 2 other bills that we were concerned about. Was the hours in which youngsters are told to get up in the morning to go to school. We have pages that come to Annapolis, so they came to my office, and to a person, they talked to me about what time they get up in the morning, what time they must catch the bus, they get to school. Everybody's tired until about 11, 12 o'clock. And in the afternoon, that's when their day starts. And then school ends, they have sports that they have to participate in, they have studies they have to do, and by the time they get back home, it is dark. So they get up in the dark, go to bed in the dark. We said that needs to be looked at. Because I said, as an adult, I'm not so sure I can live with that. So I think that we need to take a hard look at the time that children get up and go to school. Okay, and there's a third one here that I felt that we need to take another look at. Well, we're going to be passing this out probably within the next week, and I will be sure that you all get copies of this newsletter. But this is just a sample copy, so we're going to send that out to have it printed. And but I want to thank you all for the support that you have given me. I've been in Annapolis, as I said, for 30 years, and the phone calls that I have received from so many wonderful people. And I want to apologize because some of the people have been calling me since the Lord knows when, and I have deliberately not answered my phone. Very deliberately. Because when I come here, I want to come as an individual. I don't want to come with someone else's opinion. I want to come to talk with you all, because I think that's the way you ought to do it. But I'm going to also appeal to you all, please, do not go down to Annapolis and make it so difficult for us to get things done. Inside this beltway, we've suffered enough. We've had enough. I want to finally tell you how disappointed I am with the shopping center where Wegmans is. I'm very disappointed. I want you to know that I'm in strong opposition. I'm in strong opposition to Lidl's. Yes, I am. I'm in strong opposition to the townhouses and the apartments. Yes, I am. because it works a hardship on the police department. Not fair. It's not right. That intersection right there, when you go into off of 202, that whole intersection is shameful. And that's exactly what we said. When we had our meeting, that's what we said. We said it was going to create nothing but problems. And it's so unfair to that Catholic church. They wanted to take that church and move it down the street. And then they had the audacity to ask that church for $14,000 for infrastructure. And Anthony Brown said, and St. Mark's gave him $14,000. Anthony Brown met with him and said, put it back. Write a check. It was Anthony Brown who said, no, you're not going to do that. It's not fair to those parishioners. I am in adamant opposition. They were there long before a Wegmans was started, and a Costco and whatever else is over there. It's not right. The other thing is, I'm hoping that you all have had some negotiations with the people who are putting those stores and all that other stuff in there. I am hoping that you're getting your fair share. I would be in adamant opposition to you all allowing Lytle and all those other places to build in there, and you all don't get anything. If it's no more than money for your children in the schools, something for your senior citizens, but you need to have a bite of the apple. Those are the kind of things that we need to be confronted with. And as I take my seat, I have to publicly tell you all about John Anderson. John Anderson was a mayor here. Picked up the phone and he called me, told me he wanted to see me. And one of the things he was most concerned about was the absence of sidewalks and the absence of the streets of Glenarden. And as you all can see, the change that has taken place. It took a while, but I have to give him credit. There have been a lot of soldiers that have come through here. Mayor Cousins, I could call them by name, Jim Fletcher. We can't do anything that's going to harm their legacy. Tommy Broadwater, this is his home. We can't do anything that's going to harm the legacy. The legacy of future generations, our children. Glenarden has had a wonderful reputation, and I don't think we ought to sit here or go anywhere and ruin it. Because it doesn't take much to ruin something so wonderful as Glenarden. I love Glenarden. I do. And so I am bound and determined to do whatever I can to continue to work with you all in everything that's possible. But don't call me in on anything that is foolish. Chief, you had a young man that retired. What was his name?
Captain Jackson.
What's his name?
Captain Wayne Jackson.
I'm sorry to hear that he's retired. When the former chief, ladies and gentlemen, was ill, this wonderful man that you sitting here and that chief took over this town, and everything ran as smooth as silk. And he also looked out for the 202 coalition. And I want you all to know that at our next meeting, I've asked that we have a small group to recognize the wonderful work that he did in helping those little senior citizens when they didn't have a ride from Glenarden to the 202 coalition. He found a way for them to get to the 202 coalition. He had, if there was a problem in this town that was in regards to senior citizens, he was the one that showed up. Never said no. Never did. And I certainly want to thank you, Chief, for the wonderful work that you are doing and the reputation that you have established. But I guess it takes a graduate of Sir Johns Hopkins to do exactly what you do. That's not my boyfriend. I don't have one. Okay, thank you all very much. If you have any questions, I am certainly open to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay.
If they're
Well,
hard,
I saw
I'll
her
turn them
first,
over to
and then I'll come
somebody
to you,
else.
Councilman. Vice President Ferguson. We don't come to you.
Honorable Benson, Senator Benson. Hi, good evening. I was wondering about your meeting at,
Sorry.
I'm wondering about your meeting at Sylvania Woods. You said it's going to be on this Thursday coming. Would you like for any of us to come, council members to come, to join you?
Which one?
The Sylvania Woods meeting.
Okay, what you need to do is you call Carol McCray Maddox. You know Carol? Carol McCray Maddox, Maddox. She's the coordinator of the umbrella group. And they need, what they desperately need are volunteers. 301 773 7388. 301 773 7388.
873, 301, 873, 7388.
What did you say?
301, 873, 7388.
That's the number.
Now, that's for Ms. Maddox,
Yes.
Carol Maddox.
and is that pertaining to, you were saying that you had a meeting coming up with Sylvania Woods on Thursday. Is that the,
No, that's with the superintendent. I'm going down to Upper Marlboro.
oh, okay. But this number
I'm going to
here,
I'm going to hold the superintendent's hand to tell him they need to do something with the redistricting, the reorganizing of that school.
okay, thank you.
I think it's the right thing to do. You have 700, that school, the population of that school is larger than some of your middle schools.
I know.
That's
Thank-
not right.
No, it's not.
They wouldn't have that Glenarden Elementary School.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Harry.
Yes, how you doing, Senator Benson? Yeah, I'm glad you're looking into Sylvania Woods, because I have been looking into it for years. I have spoken to the previous school superintendents. I wrote the federal government, everybody else, to try to get more resources in that school, because my thing is, if you can pour $22 million into Glenarden Woods, you can pour some money up into that school. You know, and that's not what's happening, but it's like an uphill battle, you know, because again, one thing they keep on telling me that the parents got to be involved too. We got to get the parents involved. They got to come out. They got to speak up. They got to speak out. Because one thing they told me, we don't see parents. We don't feel that there's nothing we're going to do. And you know, and I asked them at that point, well, so you're saying that you want to let the kids fall by the wayside because the parents aren't involved? What kind of thinking is that? But that's the thinking that they have down there. So yeah, I really appreciate it, because something really does need to be done. Like you say, it's packed, it's overcrowded, and the resources aren't there to take care of all of those kids that are there.
Right.
But I would like to ask you one question on the maglev. So what is going, I see advertisements for it, I see, you know, them talking about it. So what is the status of that train?
Well, we got a surprise a couple of weeks ago when the dear Governor, Wes Moore, made an announcement that he's supporting maglev. And then he got on the train. Then he and a little entourage went to Japan and wherever the maglev is over in Europe, and they rode the train. It is very expensive, but he is saying he supported, but it's very expensive. It's not on our table in Annapolis. If you're interested in knowing, because I'm telling you all right up front, not going with it in 24th District, just not going to do it. Do you all know that it would have had its start in Fairmont Heights?
Yes.
And it would have totally destroyed Fairmont Heights. Those homes, those ancient homes, those little historic homes, would have destroyed that little city, little town. It's not a city, it's a town. We said, no, nah, you can't do that. Well, you can do it, but you will have a fight on your hand. I tried to come over here tonight and got my car, and for those of you who don't know, I wear hearing aids now. So just as I got in my car, my hearing aids cut off. So I was over there picking in my pocketbook to try to find my battery. When you get to be 48, these things will happen.
Councilman, are you done? Okay. And
I knew Mr. Herring's mother so well. Yeah, she was a devout member of St. Joseph's Catholic Church. Every time I went over there, I was just wondering if she slept at the church. I didn't know. She was faithful. Faithful.
well,
Does anybody else have any questions? Come on, you all, don't make it difficult for me, please. If you all have a concern, I want you all to call me. Oh, well, Joyce, I know. Joyce calls me, but I don't answer the phone. I'm sorry, Joyce. But you're calling in Annapolis to talk to Carletta, and she gets the message to me, or leave a message in Annapolis. Because I have to tell y'all, I am out on the street right now, working really hard, trying to get things in place so that our children will not be running around wild like weeds and in trouble. So we've got to be sure that we get the resources that are necessary so our children and our parents, and homelessness, terrible. Loss of jobs, terrible. People are losing their jobs like you wouldn't believe. It is despicable. And every day there's a change. Imagine closing down the Department of Education. Medicaid, terrible. Social Security, they're saying that Social Security is a social program. Please. I don't know about you all, but I've contributed my money to Social Security. What is wrong with these people? What's gotten into these people? And we've got to take a firm stand. You can't sit back and allow it to happen. You got to do it. It's despicable. It is. Sorrowful and sad. Now, I'll probably think of something when I go to sit down, but we're going to reintroduce, some of this, reintroduce some of the pieces of legislation that we had on the books last year. We're not going to have. Here's one that we really got into a terrible fight, and that was they wanted to have the online gambling all night long. So you can wake up in the middle of the night, your children, your grandchildren, everybody, and participate in gambling. We say, no, you're not. No, we're not going along with that. Okay, Suitland High School is coming along. I've got into several spitting matches with over Suitland High School because I'm not a supporter of P3 schools. I know that's surprising to many of you. Brick and mortars, that's what we're after. Brick and mortar. I want our school looks like flowers. Brick. Winds may come and blow. That school's going to stand. But a P3 school's life is about 35 years old. 35 years. And then you begin to have all kinds of problems. We don't want that. So, but we're getting along pretty good.
okay,
Are there any other questions that you all want to ask?
and there's one more. Councilwoman Fareed,
Yes, thank you so much for coming.
use your mic, please.
I'm glad.
Thank you for coming, Senator Benson. I just wanted to ask you about your comments on P3 because, there's pros and cons to it, and one of the pros is that it helps schools get built faster to accommodate the rapid growth of our population and the kids' needs, right? You mentioned that Judge Sylvania has 700 kids, but if it's taking a long time for schools to get built, then it's a problem that is lasting for more time than we want. So what would be your suggested alternative to P3 that would allow the schools to be built faster to accommodate the fast-growing needs we have?
That has been one of the concerns that people raise to me when I talk about P3 schools. when I look at the cost of a P3 school in the long run, maybe that's where my problem is. When I look at the cost of a P3 school in the long run, it's going to end up costing us more money. Now, right now, that is a quick fix. It's going to be a quick fix. And I think that with the brick and mortar schools, I'm not so sure that we spent enough time looking at ways in which we could go back and look at some of the schools that are brick and mortar and see how we can do a better job of renovating them. I look at Kenmore Middle School. You see Kenmore Middle School? Mm-hmm. It's a little worry. But yes, that is where everybody is saying to me, Senator Benson, look, we have to have the P3 schools because we have about 134,000 students in our school system, and we do have to come up with a way to accommodate those young. But I think a lot of it has to do with the way the redistricting of our children in these schools. We have schools like across the street where we have 700 kids, and then you go to another school, like Concord Elementary School closed down. Did y'all know about that? We have several of our elementary schools that are closed down. We're not doing a good job of how we look at where the children are assigned. That is a little worry.
Thank you, Senator Benson.
Thank you. Mayor Cross?
Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Senator Benson. Thank you so much for being here again. And also, I just have a different topic that I want to address with the Glenarden Community Center. You know, our Boys and Girls Club use that center almost exclusively, but when they do football games, there's literally no place for the parents to sit.
Where is this?
Right across the street at the Glenarden Community Center on the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission.
Boo!
So they literally have to bring out lawn chairs, and if it rains, then they're sitting in mud. So we need some bleachers over there, and then some of the more expansive work that I've seen in some of the other community centers across not just Prince George's County, but in our particular district, we need some real help in those park and planning commissions. Because until we get programs and facilities that cities can help, with the youth, that's where they go. And they run operations literally until 9 p.m. just trying to keep the kids off the streets.
That's right.
But other than basketball, and thanks to the Teresa A. Banks Aquatic Center, we don't have anything other than that. But if we had a nice gym stadium on the backside there in that muddy field, then, we could do soccer, we could do lacrosse, we could do some things. Just like over at Woodmore Town Center, they built that beautiful field. I think Glenarden Community Center under the Maryland National Capital Park, particularly our district, could use some of that kind of help.
You know what you all need to do? You all, if that is a concern of this council and you bring Peter Shapiro in here, and I'll come with him. So if he says the wrong thing, I can help him. When you control people's budget, you can help them. Did y'all know that? If you help to control their budget, if they come to you and ask for money and this and that and that and this, I'll be glad to help. If y'all want to invite him in for a conversation, I am prepared to do it. I'm prepared to come with him. I'm prepared to do whatever is necessary. But you need to get back to me and let me know where that is specific. I have a very wonderful working relationship with Peter.
Thank you, Senator Benson. We really need that in those community centers, particularly in our district, because, again, kids go there until 9 p.m. They should have alternative things to do other than basketball.
Listen, inside this beltway, when you look at our data, you look at inside the beltway, we are climbing a high mountain. I'm telling you all. We are climbing a high mountain. We really are.
Well,
So whatever I can do to help, I am prepared to do it.
Well, Senator Benson, thank you again for coming, and thank you for just your incredible hard work, even in the face of
It's hard now.
opposition. I remember 2 years ago coming to Annapolis with Vice President Ferguson and the chief, as relates to in support of the police station, and you have worked tirelessly to help us in that regard, and especially with a state budget that's That's a shortfall for you to come through with an additional $2 million is
million.
incredible. So thank you for your hard work in getting us that $4 million, and thank you for thinking of us to even get some more money in the next session. And we
Well,
appreciate
whatever
it.
I can do to help you all, I am certainly prepared to do it. We listen. We have an agenda here that we have to move. We have to, and we can't do it. Look, people look. I want to cite for you one example. Let me sit down. We had $4 million for one of our municipalities. $4 million, ready to go. And we had a couple of members from the council and friends from that municipality to go down Upper Marlboro, not Upper Marlboro, to announce it. Guess what happened? They lost that $4 million. And by the time they lost it, there was nothing I could do about it. Got to be careful. In the first place, I don't want you to have it in the first place. But the saving grace was when we got God Gazone to bring himself up here to walk around when he saw that they didn't have a place to change their clothes, a place to secure their equipment, their guns. When they saw the condition of that police station, that tells the story. That's a way to get things done, but you have to take the time to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for the work that you do. I'm telling you, it's a hard job. Don't y'all make it harder for me, please. Please. Don't make it harder for Joanne Benson. People ask me, do I have a boyfriend? No, I don't. And I'm not going to be able to get one with the rate you all are running me around.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And what's nice about it is you all, hopefully you all are my friends. Whatever I can do to help, I'm willing to do it.
Thank
you. You've got to be careful. You've got to move this agenda here. And you can't move it if you can't get along. Did y'all hear what I just said?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next on the agenda
Words were never spoken. All righty.
is legislation. First up, there aren't any minutes on here. So we have to do it next time around. All right, next up is legislation. First on the docket is ordinance 10-2025, an emergency ordinance to amend ordinance O-04-2025, an ordinance to regulate the parking of work vehicles and prohibit the parking of commercial vehicles in residential and public areas to support community business growth while preserving traffic flow and neighborhood quality of life. Madam Clerk.
Whereas ordinance 004-2025, an ordinance to regulate the parking of work vehicles and prohibit the parking of commercial vehicles in residential and public areas, was passed on January 21st, 2025. And whereas the legislation erroneously restricts citizens from parking their personal pickup trucks and personal vans on public streets. And whereas the intent of the legislation was not to affect personal vehicles but commercial and work vehicles. And whereas it is in the citizens' best interest to correct this restriction, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Glenarden that ordinance 004-2025 be hereby amended as follows. Section 1, purpose. This ordinance aims to regulate the parking of work vehicles and prohibit the parking of commercial vehicles on city streets to support Glenarden's small business community and economic growth while preserving the quality of life, safety, and accessibility within residential neighborhoods and public spaces. Section.
One second. I don't think we need to read the entire
Okay.
one. It just. You could just go there for Now
Now
therefore
therefore-
be it enacted and ordained
Okay, perfect.
on line 109.
Okay. Now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the City Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 21st day of April 2025, that this ordinance is and shall become effective 20 days following approval by the mayor or passage by the council over the mayor's veto.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
Council President, I'd like to make a motion to bring this to the floor as an emergency ordinance.
Okay. Is there a second? Unfortunately, there's not a second.
Okay, so,
Councilman
Mr. President, I would like to have this be stricken as an emergency ordinance and have it as a first reading, and we'll take it up in May. And we can move on.
Okay. All right.
Okay? All right. So this is officially the first reading.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Next is ordinance 11-2025. An emergency ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Glenarden, Chapter 149, Vehicles and Traffic, to add stop sign monitoring systems to implement the authority of Maryland Code, Annotated Transportation, Article 21-707, in accordance with the provision thereof, and to add failure to pay fine for red light camera or speed camera violation, to add stop sign monitoring system violations. Madam Clerk, and let's see. And you won't have to read all of the,
Okay.
you'll, after the whereas, I think you can go down to the, be it ordained.
Okay. So just the first whereas and then be it ordained?
All the whereases and then
Okay,
the be it
okay.
ordained.
Okay. Whereas pursuant to Section 5-202 of the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, has the authority to adopt such ordinances as it deems necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the municipality. And whereas by ordinance number 09-1992, pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Code Annotated Transportation Article, the City Council adopted an uncodified ordinance authorizing use of speed monitoring systems in school zones in the City of Glenarden, ordinance number 04-1992, and whereas effective July 1st, 2024, Maryland Code Annotated Transportation Article Section 21-707.1 will authorize the city to implement a stop sign monitoring stop sign monitoring system, provided the city has enacted legislation implementing such a program. And whereas the City Council believes the implementation of a camera-based stop sign monitoring system in conformance with the requirements of TR 21-707.1 is in the best interest of the city and its residents. Be it further ordained by the City Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 21st day of April 2025, that this ordinance is and shall become effective 20 days after following approval by the mayor or passage by the council over the mayor's veto.
Problem with this.
Is there, well, you have to make that motion. This is the, this will be the first reading.
The first,
The first reading was April 7th.
Okay, so
This is,
then you have to make a motion to, okay, so you have to make a motion. You have the floor, right?
no, you're the council president, you make the motion.
Oh, it was yours. Okay, I'm fine.
Mr. Council President, I move that we make, we bring this to the floor as an emergency ordinance.
Thank you. I second it. I'm sorry. I second it. Is there any discussion?
I do want to say, Mr. President,
Yes, Councilman.
this is actually a new piece of legislation, and I think the reading is not giving the citizens enough of an idea of what this actually entails. This is a whole new section in here, and we just skipped from everything in between. You know, they don't know about that there will be a fine assessed. There's a $40 fine. A lot of other things in here, but I'm just saying that reading was kind of light when it comes down to what this legislation is about. We could have just read the title and kept on going. I just wanted to put that out there, so that's it. Thanks.
All right. Then we'll do a voice vote to make this an emergency ordinance based on traffic safety.
Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes.
Councilman Hairston? Councilman Herring?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
And Council President Curtis.
Yes. All right, so now it's an emergency ordinance, and now we vote to enact the ordinance.
Correct.
And we'll just do a voice vote again.
Okay. Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
You need a motion.
Thank you. Is there a motion now that this is an emergency ordinance?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Sorry, Madam Clerk, now you can go.
Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Guillaume? Councilwoman Guillaume? Okay. Councilman Herring?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
Council President Curtis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Councilwoman Guillaume? Okay. Well, she might be having technical difficulties, but with 5, it passes. All right, next is...
I was saying, I'm sorry, it wasn't unmuting me. I was saying yes. Thank you.
So there's yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman Guillaume.
You're welcome.
Next is R-32-2025, a resolution authorizing CPJA to complete the feasibility study for a new police building. Madam Clerk?
Whereas the City of Glenarden recognizes the need for a new police building to better serve the community, and Charles P. Johnson and Associates, CPJA, has submitted a proposal, see Exhibit A, to conduct a feasibility study to determine the optimal location and type of new police building required, and whereas the council has determined that it is in the public interest to proceed with this feasibility study to ensure the new police building meets the needs of the city, and whereas the council declares that the provisions of Section 818B of the city charter have been satisfied so as to justify the waiver of the competitive bidding process required by Section 818A of the city charter. Whereas Charles P. Johnson and Associates currently serves as the City of Glenarden's retained engineering firm under an existing professional services agreement, and CPJA has demonstrated extensive knowledge of the city's infrastructure and planning needs through prior work, and is well positioned to conduct the proposed feasibility study efficiently and cost-effectively. And whereas, given the technical nature of the project, the time-sensitive need to initiate planning for a new police facility, and CPJA's ongoing role with the city, it is in the public interest to waive the formal bidding process for this scope of work in accordance with Section 818B of the city charter. And whereas CPJA's proposal has been reviewed and determined to be fair and reasonable, Now therefore be it resolved, number one, CPJA is hereby approved to proceed with the proposed feasibility study for the new police building at a cost of $89,150. Number two, the feasibility study will be funded from the capital outlay police facility building, item 7635308010. Number three, the resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Is there a second? I will second it. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Herring?
I think this piece of legislation is very misleading. Again, you're sitting here quoting a price of $89,150, and the title of this piece of legislation is renovate a feasibility study for the new police building, when in actuality, it's a feasibility study for the police building, and also to take away some of this feasibility study on taking away some of this senior nutrition center. And I think it's very misleading. And when you look at the backup, it has two tasks in here. One is for renovation of the floor plans for that nutrition center back there, and one of them is for a feasibility study. The feasibility study is $56,250 for the police station, and there's another $24,000 to look at taking the senior nutrition center. And I think it's very misleading to sit there and put this in front of us and approve this when no decision has been made on whether we're going to kick the seniors out of their space and give it to the police department. So I would like to get a consensus from this council on who is in favor of taking that senior nutrition center and giving it to the police department and paying to have it renovated, paying to get a feasibility study on the renovation. I think that's completely unfair. I think it's completely unfair, and this piece of legislation is very misleading. It's very, very misleading, because that's exactly what this piece of legislation does, but it's not mentioned nowhere in the body of this legislation that this says it's looking at the floor plan to that senior nutrition center back there, that we've had those seniors in, that the lady that's sitting on that wall back there started it back many, many years ago. And we're going to sit here and say we're going to do a feasibility study to see if we're going to take half of that and give it to the police department, and we can make final $4 million into a police building. So where our seniors going to go? We're going to kick them out? Again, are we going to kick them out of their space? I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. And I think this is very misleading. And I asked last month, I guess that might worth me enough, that this be separated into two separate pieces of legislation so that people can have the option to decide which ones they want to pick on, they want to choose. So I would like to see which council members are in favor of doing a study, because this was not discussed, about that senior nutrition center back there, to do it. And if they're in favor of it, then it can stay like it is, but this thing needs to be amended to include it in the wording. And if they don't, then the number on this need to change to $56,000 just for the feasibility study for the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you, Council President. To the citizens and to this council, a feasibility study is just that. It sees what's feasible for the police department to see where they're going to be. It doesn't say that we're going to take anything, but they look at the feasibility of whether it's going to be outside, a standalone building, or if it's going to, if we want to take out we want to renovate this part of the building in order to have a police station. It's just a feasibility study. It's not saying that they're kicking anybody out of anywhere. We need to find out what's feasible, where we're going to, are we going to have a standalone building, or are we going to build out? And as far as the seniors, if they have to, they're going to have to be relocated anyway, because this council has determined that we want to renovate this space down here. So, like I said last week, Prince George's County has just opened a brand new building over on Central Avenue with a state-of-the-art senior center. If they have to be relocated there until we finish our renovations, I don't see any issue with that. If they have to be relocated to Evelyn Cole, I have no issue with that. There are places where the seniors can go to utilize space for what they're utilizing the space for now. Those seniors that are in here now that are for the card party, they were over at Teresa Banks before they came here. So I don't see an issue if they have to be relocated back to Teresa Banks for the same issue. We need to move forward with this police station. We have dragged our feet on this is the second feasibility study that we have requested, and now here we go again. getting ready to drag our feet again, as Senator Benson just eloquently stood there and said, if we keep dragging our feet, we're going to end up losing our monies. We need to move forward with this police station. It is just a feasibility study to see what is feasible. Thank you, Council President.
Mr. President, may
Thank you. One second, I think the Vice President Ferguson, that you, I have these two down here, and then I'll come back.
Council President, is the nutritional center being used for nutritional purposes? Like, are we giving out food to the seniors in this nutritional center, or is it for social or recreational purposes? If it's for the latter, I'm wondering why we're not utilizing the community room at Wilmore Town Center. I believe that's the reason why it was given to us, that space, by the developers, so that that space could be used for the community to come together and do social activities. So is that not something that's allowed? Or, I mean, I know right now we're kind of discussing fees, but even if they were doing it for free, is there a reason why they're not using that space as opposed to using this space down here?
I don't think there's a rational reason. I think there was a request for a group of people. I think in the past they played cards in the room, and I think it stopped for a while, and they asked permission to use the nutrition center to play cards, and it was granted again. But there's no reason why they could not use the community center at the Wilmore Town Center.
Thank you.
All right. Vice President Ferguson.
Yes, thank you, Council President. I was just wondering why the tasks are separate. I mean, and where did that I just don't understand that the nutritional center never, from what I understand, was part of the equation. So when did that happen?
Well, I'll let Mr. Simpson chime in.
Yes, good evening. It was a recommendation by CPJA when they did come out to potentially provide just an option of relief while that potential police building could be built. It was a suggestion from them, and I believe that's why they have it tasked. We also have representatives from CPJA available for any other additional questions specifically regarding that. However, from my understanding, that particular task too can be removed if necessary to address the need for the police feasibility study.
Not right now. So I'm going to go. All right, is your question answered, Vice President
So you're
Ferguson?
basically saying that they would be moving in that area? And is this in the event that they do a build out?
Correct. In the event that they a police building would be approved, they anticipate that this would be 3 to 5 years down the road before it actually would be erected. Estimated. They offered a suggestion relative to providing some relief in sharing parts of that space initially. It was just a suggestion, and they did include it in this particular proposal. But again, if we just opt for the police feasibility study for the standalone building, you just would remove option, or I should say task 2 from this particular proposal.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Harris?
Yeah, people say they know the history of Glenarden when they don't. It's for someone to ask the council president about the history of that space back there is mind-blowing, because you absolutely know absolutely nothing about that space back there. That space used to be our senior nutrition center. We used to get a grant for that space. The meals that were served in that space was sometimes the only nutritious meal that a lot of our seniors had. That program got pulled out, and for a council member to sit here to say nobody there, they can go all the way over to Central Avenue or down to Sea Pleasant to get a meal. It's amazing. Why should somebody who may not even have the transportation to get there to get a meal go there. I don't even understand why the county would even centralize a food program in one location. They had seniors that come in here, they would sit up here, they would talk to each other, one time they had to meet each other, they got to talk to each other, they got to commune with each other, they would have lunch, they would play games. We had somebody up here that would do programs with them. You know, last year I was trying to get the senior program back going. Laurel and Bowie have dynamite senior programs. Dynamite programs. And I don't understand why we can't have one here for our seniors where they ain't got to roll all the way to a Central Avenue or down to Seat Pleasant. So that is an integral part of our community. That senior program was here for years and years and years, feeding seniors in this community. And for somebody to sit there and say, well, let them go all the way to Central Avenue. Some of them don't even have cars. Some of them would walk up here to get a meal. Some of them would get the city bus that would bring them up here to get a meal. You know, some of them pick up the meals and take it to they were caregivers. They came here and got a meal and took it to the person they were caring for. So that's what that location was for. And sit there to cut it out to give, and not even, what really is the sad part about it is, we're not even saying, well, what can we do to get this program up and going? We're saying, let's just move them on out of here. Let's move them across the street, or let's move them over to Woodmore. When this is a central location here in the center of the city. So it's really disappointing to hear that type of talk coming from elected officials that's supposed to represent all the citizens in this community. The seniors are an important part of this community. They've served their time. They've done their stint. They need to enjoy their life. And if we can make it more enjoyable for them by giving them a place where they can come and commune and enjoy and play games, then that's what we should be doing. Not kicking them out because we want to give the police somewhere to have a roll call. And yes, I'm frustrated about it because I think it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs when we do things like this. I think it's absolutely terrible. So yes, it should come out here, and then to put a piece of legislation in front of us that don't even mention that you're going to do that, thinking we're going to vote on it. Well, no, you probably will vote on it, because even when I brought it up last month to break it out separately, so you can have the choice to decide whether you want to do that or you don't want to do it. You still brought it here like this. And you read it as though it's just a feasibility study for the police department. Yes, it's a feasibility study for the police department, but it's also a feasibility study to see how much of that space back there you can take. So I think it's misleading. I think it's, and like I said, it just amazes me. It just amazes me. We do very little for the seniors in the way of programming. We try to. What we should be saying is how much money are we going to put back there to get it back going, get them back up here. So, you do what you want to do. I know I'm voting against it. As long as it's compacted like this, I would not vote for it. I'm just telling you that right now, and I think it's misleading. I think y'all need to be open and honest and transparent. Everybody up here talks about transparency. But then you get a piece of legislation like this that says you're going to take part of that room back there that belongs to the seniors. There's even a resolution on that room back there. There's a resolution back there making that room the senior nutrition center. So when the lunches came out of the senior nutrition center, it saddened me to my core, because we could afford to try to keep that there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harry. Councilwoman Jones.
Thank you, Council President. Once again, as a council person, before I was a council person, I would come up here to the Nutrition Center every other day, because I was delivering some of the Meals on Wheels that the county was providing for the seniors. Most of the seniors that came up to the Senior Nutrition Center were bused in from different parts of the county. There was not many of the seniors in the city of Glenarden that were coming up here, except for Reuben Reed, myself, and Reverend Matthews. They have documents to show that who was coming and the attendance. Ms. Barbara ran the Nutrition Center. Once again, it was a county program, and we were given $11,000 a year to keep it running. When the county decided that they wanted to centralize everything and move it over to Central Avenue, have everybody go to Evelyn Cole, the county indicated they did not want any more standalone nutrition centers, which is what Glenarden was at the time. The nutrition center at Evelyn Cole, or the nutrition center on Central Avenue. Now that the Central Avenue location has opened, it has a state-of-the-art gym. It has it has places where they can play cards, they can play games, or whatever they want to do. They have a person there that does activities with the seniors. We don't have that here in Glenarden. Like I said, this is only a feasibility study. It's only going to tell us what our options are. It doesn't move anybody anywhere. And the seniors that come up here now are from across the county anyway. There's only maybe one or two citizens that are from the city of Glenarden that plays cards here on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Thank you, Councilman Jones. So what I will say that we do have a resolution on the books to actually remodel the nutrition center. So I don't think there's anybody in here that's trying to. Well, I take that back. At least I'm not trying to displace any senior citizens. So I do understand Councilman Herring's concern. And so, out of respect for that concern, so, Councilman Herring, are you making a motion to remove the second piece?
That's what I would like to do.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. We'll go for see if there's a second after that. I missed Councilwoman Guillaume's hand.
Thank you, Council President. Actually, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to say, is there a motion or can we make a motion? So it's fine now. Thank you.
To amend this current resolution to only include the standalone feasibility study and not the feasibility study to see if there is an option to use some of the nutrition room. So is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that? So I'll go to a voice vote to revise the current resolution to remove option task 2. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Fareed,
No.
Councilwoman Guillaume,
Yes.
Councilman Hairston. He must.
Yeah, I don't think he's in it.
Councilman Herring,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones,
No.
Council Vice President Ferguson,
Yes.
Council President Curtis.
I am a no.
I have a question.
You have a question?
I mean, after you finish with that.
Is that all? How many was that? What was that? 3-3. You have a question?
It was something that you said concerning the a resolution already on the table to renovate that.
Correct, which I think we all supported.
Okay, so my thing is
what's
if we paid for that, I mean, we have designs.
Yeah,
We have
that's
designs
true.
already for this chamber and for that nutritional center. And we paid for that service. And again, I'm just, like I said, I didn't even realize that was even on the table. I do remember Councilman Herring mentioning at the last meeting that this came up about separating. So, I mean, I thought that was going to happen. But at any rate, again, my concern is we have paid for drawings and for this remodeling this room, the bathrooms, the printing section, and all of that. So this shouldn't even be on the table.
So with that,
Sorry, where are we? Because we just voted, so did it pass, did it fail, and then are we going to vote then on the entirety of the resolution?
we haven't closed the vote, so I'm going to change my vote to yes. I understand the feasibility study, it's just a study, but I also understand that if we've already made a decision to go forward with the remodeling of the nutrition center, there really is no need for a study, because the decisions will be in conflict with each other. So with that, I'll change my vote to a yes. And with that, then we'll close out the vote. So then we'll be moving forward with the same resolution, just moving Part B out. All right, so that was a motion to remove task number 2. And so now we're voting to move forward with the amended resolution. And I take it, Councilman Herring, you want a voice vote?
Yeah, so, yes, I do want a voice vote.
Okay.
And can we change line 34 to reflect the cost of just the feasibility study for the police building? Right now, it's at 89,150, and that should be 56,250. Correct.
Yes, it also includes the, it says 3, the coordination on-site virtual meetings, which will not exceed the $8,900. I'm sure that would be adjusted as well. That was necessary for both tasks as a whole. So I'm sure that number could be adjusted accordingly as well.
Well, yes, so we'll be voting on the 56,250 and the 8,900 total. Okay? Madam Clerk, a voice, are you finished, Councilman Herring?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, a voice vote, please.
Councilwoman Fareed?
No.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
This is for the feasibility for the police, for the police section, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Herring?
Yes, to indicate the $56,250 and $8,900.
Okay. Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
And Council President Curtis?
Yes. So the resolution passes. Next up is R-34-2025, a resolution authorizing the increase of retirement benefits for the city employees. Madam Clerk.
Whereas the City of Glenarden, Maryland acts as an employer within Prince George's County in the state of Maryland, and whereas the City Code Section 906 Employee Benefit Programs by ordinance may provide for or participate in hospitalization or other forms of benefit or welfare programs for its officers and employees, and may expend public monies of the city for such programs, and whereas pursuant to the amendment to the defined contribution pension plan for the City of Glenarden, April 1st, 2016, Section 1.3A and 1.3A of the Flexible Premium Annuity, FLAP, where there is a 2.5% contribution to city employees, a proposed amendment to increase the city's contribution from that 2.5% to a 3% with an additional up to 4% matching on the 457B government plan to employees' contribution, for a total of up to 7% city retirement contribution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, sitting in regular session this 21st day of April 2025, has determined that number 1, an increase of the city's contribution to the flat retirement plan to 3%. Number 2, an up to 4% matching contribution to the 457B retirement plan for employees. Number 3, funding will come from each department's budget line, retirement-MOA account, line item 6230 10-XX, and Enterprise Gold Room Fund 6230-55-70-70. And number 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Thank you. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Is there a second? I second it. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Herring?
So I need to ask a question again to be clear on this. So we're going to give them walking in the door 3%. Is that what we're saying? Into their retirement account.
Correct. We will move from 2.5% to 3% for all employees.
No matter what, when they walk in the door. And then we're going to match up to 4% if they put in it. It's for a total of 7%.
Correct. After their vested period.
Okay, now I guess my question is this. How many people are in the retirement program right now? Can y'all tell me?
Right now we have for the people who are in the 457, it's 10. We have 10 people.
10 in the 457?
Yes.
That we put money in for, or they put their
No,
own?
they put their own money.
They put their own money in. And how many employees do we have?
We have over 40.
Over 40 employees?
Yes.
Okay, so majority of the staff don't even participate in this plan. So they obviously don't want a retirement program. They're not participating in it anyway. So I'm not understanding why we're going to sit here and put out a flat 3% when they themselves don't want to participate anyway. So I think it should be optional. It should be optional like every other business in this country do. If you put your money in, we'll match it. I don't know why. I've never walked into a place where they just give you 3% off the top, just because you walked in the door. Majority of the employees are not even participating in it. So why are we even doing it? I heard this, we want retirement, but you got 10 out of 40 employees that's participating in it. How much is this going to cost us per year with this plan here?
Okay, so if I could just go back to some of what you're saying. Employees come in and they get 2.5%. And it is vested after 36 months. That's when it is available to them. That's the one that's going up to 3%. The 457 is the one where you don't have a lot of contributors because in most cases they can't afford it. Now we have to encourage the employees to be a part of this pension plan that we have, and that's why we are asking for that for up to 4% to encourage them to participate in the plan.
I guess my thing is, if employees are concerned about retirement, why are they not in the plan right now? If you want retirement, you don't care how much it is, you're going to still put away for your retirement. No matter what, you're going to put away for your retirement. If they wanted to participate, they would participate. You got 10 in there out of 40 that's actually participating. So then we're going to give you 3% walking in the door. My thing is, if they want to participate, then they participate. Okay, we'll match up to 4%. They put in 4%, we put in 4%. That's what most places do. Again, what is the dollar amount in total per year for this retirement plan? Now, the last number I heard was $200,000.
Yeah, I think it's like 210 to 20,000. Yeah.
$220,000 a year that we got to put aside every year, and it will go up every year as salaries go up. And that means that we're going to have to either raise taxes or find the money somewhere. Now, everybody keeps on saying, we got the money, we got the money. Right now, you're getting the money right now from salary savings. But when all the positions are filled, where you going to get the money from then? I'm just asking. I mean, see, I don't think we're looking at long range. We're looking at long range and how much can we actually afford long term to sustain this retirement account, and how soon will we have to raise taxes on the citizens? Because one good housing bubble bursts, and we're going to be losing a lot of money, and that's $200,000 that you're going to have to continue to fund, and something's going to have to get cut. I think that right now we need to be on the side of caution. You just have a simple retirement plan. If they put in 4%, we match up to 4%. That's it. They should not walk in the door and get a flat 3%, especially when they're not participating anyway. The majority of them are not participating anyway. So that's just my feeling on it. I think it's a lucrative retirement account for some people, because I don't even know some businesses that give you up to 7%. I mean, really. And a lot of times, but I read most businesses give you 7 to 10%, or usually Fortune 500 companies that's doing really well. Because I've never worked at a place yet that's getting over 5. So I just think that we need to look at that. We need to look at long term. Everybody wants to talk about this retirement account, but employees are not participating in it anyway. My thing is, what you do, you start at 4 and match 4, and if you decide you got a little extra money, you may want to take it up to 5. But I don't think they should walk in the door and get 3% off the top. I think that's an expense that the city cannot afford. I think eventually down the road, when none of us are here, something's going to have to be done. Somebody's going to have to pay some taxes to pay for some of this stuff. Because it's going to only go up as salaries go up. The longer they stay, the higher the salary's going to get, the more you're going to have to contribute, because you're giving 3% of their salaries, or 7% of their salary. So we're looking at $200,000. I think that's too much. I think there's plans out there that don't. Yeah, I just think it's too much. I think, especially when they're not participating. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Herring. I would say, as the sponsor of this resolution, I strongly support this resolution. I have not worked anywhere where I got less than 6% automatically in the door. There are a ton of companies that offer a flat, here you go, money, and you're vested after a certain amount of time. That is actually pretty normal. I administer these plans for employees as a chief financial officer, so I know the ins and outs of them. And I've also had to make decisions during the pandemic to decrease the contributions that we made, the matching contributions we made. So decisions are made as new information becomes available. We're making a decision right now because one, and I commend this council, the city employees have been paid just pennies for so long. And this council did the right thing and enacted a salary classification study, and some salaries were bumped up to market rate, some weren't, because it was just the market for it was so high that we couldn't go as high. But we did what we could, taking into account the finances of the city. The next step was to increase the retirement benefits because it stood at 2.5%. Now, what we're saying is we're moving the automatic 2.5% that has been on the books since before I was even a council member, and we're moving it 0.5% to 3%. And then what we're going to do to encourage people and to invest in employees who invest in us and invest in the city to make sure that things are flowing smoothly, we're going to say that if you contribute of your own money an extra 4%, then we'll match that 4%. That's what we're saying right now. And I think that that is fair. I think that's long overdue. I think that we cannot scare people off and think that, oh, we're just going to raise taxes in the future on our future citizens if there's a housing bubble. I think that's a scare tactic that's not fair and to our employees that work so hard right now. If something happened in the future, then there's so many things that we can do. We can freeze pay. We can actually reduce the retirement contributions as some corporations would do in those tight times. We can leverage different other options that might be available in that time, but this hypothetical scenario at this point does not exist, and when it does exist and it does confront us, then we make, the council at that time in the future will make the best decision for the city. I also know that people don't participate in the matching program. I've just had a conversation with one of my staff members and asked why he does not take the free money that we try to give him, and he has a plan. His plan is he wants to pay off his student loans, go all in on the student loans, and then he's going to participate in a plan. That's a fine strategy if he wants to employ it. It's his or her decision whether they want to participate in the plan or not. But our job is to make sure that we attract the best and the brightest to work for our city and serve our citizens, and that we pay them as accordingly as as close to the market as we can with while maintaining and being good stewards over the finances of the city. So I strongly support this this resolution. If the other 30 employees decide not to participate, then we're only giving it to 10 people. If only 10 additional people decide to participate, then we're giving it to 20 people. I can almost guarantee that everybody in the city is not going to participate in it because it's just, I don't know any retirement plan that everybody participate 100%. So, with that being said, we'll move forward with the vote.
Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes.
Councilman Herring?
Let me just say a few things were said, and I'm going to say this right quick. Actually, there's no such. Actually, your hypothetical actually came true in 2008. The housing bubble burst, and municipality after municipality suffered from that. Their budget shrunk because the money wasn't coming in. So it isn't a hypothetical, it can be actually reality. And in this economy, with this president in office, we don't know what's going to happen with the housing prices. So it can happen. So what you do is you look long term. And since you haven't sat in this position when we went through this situation, and we had to make sure that we were able to save jobs, and my thing is, why would I want to sit here and freeze somebody pay so they didn't get retirement? I would rather give them their pay and let them be able to move forward. And if there's a situation, I've never heard anything like that before, or lay somebody off. That's not what we do. What you do is you try to maintain what you have in the most fiscally responsible way that you possibly can. So I vote absolutely no. I cannot saddle the citizens with a $200,000 bill that we probably cannot afford. Thank you.
Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you. Before I vote, I just want to say briefly, we had 3 employees that I know of that left the city of Glenarden with absolutely not enough, I'm sure, to this day, to sustain themselves. 2 of them left, 2 females from the police department, and 1 male from the police department, which we made adjustments for. But this city absolutely needs a retirement plan that people can invest in, and when they leave, have something set aside to sustain themselves. My answer is yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
And Council President Curtis?
Did Councilwoman Fareed? Oh, yes, she did. Oh, I would just close out by saying that I have been in those decisions as a Deputy Chief Financial Officer and a Chief Financial Officer. And you're right, the goal is not to lay people off. And so you account for all the measures that are available to you, whether it be a salary freeze, whether it be a decrease in retirement for a temporary period of time, or whether it be something that I've been in favor for, where I introduce something to slash my salary so we could keep our good workers. You make decisions on information that is available at the time. So I have been in those decisions, and my answer is yes.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask one question before we move on from this. Could you please give me the other 2 quotes for your retirement programs that you looked at? What the cost was for those? Because this is a $200,000 contract, correct?
No, this isn't a contract.
Yes, it is a contract. You had to sign a new contract, correct?
We're not paying a sign a $200 contract. This is
This is not a cost. This is not a cost that we're paying.
Every year, you're going to have to set aside $200,000 and something in case everybody decides to sign up for it. And whether they do or not, you're going to have to budget that amount. And you're signing a contract. Are you signing a contract on this new policy?
No, this is
I'm asking, Mr. President, I'm talking to the treasurer, the 2 people that worked on it. Did you work on the policy?
Listen.
No, Mr. President, I'm asking the treasurer and the city manager, is there a contract that's included in this?
The contract does not stipulate that we have to pay.
No, but is there a contract?
But with all retirement fund as it relates to each of these businesses.
All I want to know is there a contract?
We have a contract.
There's a contract,
say
correct?
that we're going to be a part of them.
We have a retirement plan.
Okay. It's a contract. It's a new contract because the other contract doesn't include the matching.
There is no charge. The fee that you're considering is minimal if there's going to be a fee on the record keeping.
Yeah.
So all I ask is to see the other contract costs for the other retirement funds that y'all looked at. That's all I ask. And you are going to sign a contract, correct? Because we don't have this in place right now, right?
So he's asking for a copy of that. Please just give it to him.
Yes.
Copy of what?
You asked for? You asked for a copy of the proposal for the 2 plans.
No, and I'm asking. I'm just asking. Are you going to be signing the contract for this new plan? I'm not understanding why this is difficult to answer.
Yes, there is a contract.
Okay,
even
so
the one that we have now,
contract.
There is a contract that was signed in 2018.
A contract will be signed, right?
So a contract will be signed.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
Them.
Okay.
But there is no cost of 200,000 to sign it.
So when you do the budget for 2026, you didn't put in $200,000 for this retirement plan?
Yes, it was.
You did, didn't you?
Yes.
You
it
did
is.
put in $200,000.
Because
Okay.
there.
See, that's what I'm saying.
So you budget for the hire.
I know you budget for whatever.
Because you have to budget for whatever.
That's fine. So,
But it does not
so
necessarily
point of
mean
order.
that it's
Point of
gonna-
order. We're not going to go back and forth on this. We have an agenda that we're going to stick to. Councilman Herring asked for the contract. Just send him the contract. It's fine, and then he'll be able to see what is actually in the contract.
I don't need to see what's in the contract. He just told me exactly what I said. You got to budget $200,000 every year.
That's different from a contract.
But
Next.
let me ask a question. Hold on. No, because you're trying to say that you don't need the contract. So is this plan in place right now?
Wait, Councilman Herring.
No. I just want to know, is the plan in place right now?
Councilman Herring, we could talk about this, but we have some more items to get through.
I
and that's
understand that, but
not
I'm just
on
trying to
the
get
agenda.
clarification before we move on, because my thing is this, people are voting on things, and I just want to make sure it's clear, like the last piece of legislation that came up that was buried. So I'm just trying to make sure that this plan, this is a new plan, because we have no matching currently, right?
Currently, we have a flap which the city
One
is
second.
paying into.
Point of order.
Yes.
Please provide Councilman Herring with what he requested.
Okay.
And if he has any questions, he can follow up. And we can actually put it on topic of discussion for the next meeting if you,
I'll top it at the end of this meeting.
you like
I'll top it
it.
at the discussion
But
next
at this point, we have to get through the rest of the agenda.
See, when they get caught, they get quiet.
Next up is Resolution 51-2025. We could do these together. And 52, resolution appointing Dion Devon Jones and Carla Foster to the Glenarden Election Board.
Whereas Article 7, Section 701 of the Glenarden Charter specifies there shall be a Board of Elections consisting of 10 members who shall be appointed by the council, and whereas the City Council appoints as many citizens as are required to ensure a complement of 10 members, Carla Foster and Dion Devon Jones, whereas the members of the Election Board will be required to perform the duties of office and follow the guidelines as outlined under Article 7, Section 703, through 716, and whereas the City Council has given confirmation on April 21st, 2025, that now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session this 21st day of 2025, that the aforementioned citizens are appointed to the Board of Elections for a term of 4 years. This resolution shall take effect immediately following approval by the Council.
Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman Jones, second. Yeah, you want to take that second, Councilman?
Second.
Second by Councilman Herring. Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this resolution is hereby passed. You could go forward with the next one.
Okay. A resolution to approve a proposal from NZI Construction for new sidewalk.
It's another, should be another.
For 52.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So we read them both together.
You said one name, right?
I said two names. I said Devon, and then I said Carla. I said Carla Foster, and then I said Devon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're now combining them.
You could, just for clarity and transparency, just read the one for Carla.
Okay. Whereas Article 7, Section 701 of the Glenarden Charter specifies there shall be a Board of Elections consisting of 10 members who shall be appointed by the council, and whereas the City Council appoints as many citizens as are required to ensure a complement of 10 members, Carla Foster, Ward 3, whereas the members of the election board will be required to perform the duties of office and follow the guidelines as outlined under Article 7, Section 703 through 716, and whereas the City Council has given confirmation on April 21st, 2025, that now therefore be it resolved, excuse me, by the Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, sitting in regular session on this 21st day of April 2025, that the aforementioned citizen is appointed to the Board of Elections for a term of 4 years. 2, this resolution shall take effect immediately following approval by the council.
Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this resolution hereby adopted. Next is Resolution 53-2025, a resolution to approve a proposal from NZI Construction for new sidewalk construction on Church Street.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Glenarden seeks to improve pedestrian infrastructure and safety throughout the community, and whereas the City Manager, in coordination with the Department of Public Works, has identified Church Street as a priority location for new sidewalk construction, and whereas NZI Construction has submitted a revised proposal dated September 6, 2024, in the amount of $78,876.41 to complete the sidewalk and associated infrastructure work on Church Street. And whereas the proposed work aligns with the city's fiscal year 25 capital improvement plan and is eligible to be funded through account number 7632-30-80-10, whereas Council passed Resolution 4-2024 on September 5th, 2023, to award NZI Construction with an indefinite quantities contract, and Resolution 4-2024 noted that Prince George's County had conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded an indefinite quantities contract to NZI Construction Corporation, Prince George's County Contract Number 932H, to perform all road improvements specified in the county contract and the city's bidding process in Section 818B of the city charter have been satisfied by the county, extending their contract with NZI until June 30th, 2025. And whereas the contract extension is documented in purchase order number 4100015 issued by Prince George's County on November 22nd, 2024, and attached hereto as Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, that number one, the City Council hereby approves the proposal from NZI Construction dated September 6, 2024, for new sidewalk construction on Church Street in the amount of $78,876.41. Number two, funding for this work shall be drawn from the fiscal year 25 capital budget, account number 7632-30-80-10. Number three, the city manager is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. Number four, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon the adoption.
Thank you, Council Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this resolution to the floor for a vote? So moved by Councilman Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice President Ferguson. Any discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Harris?
Mr. Simpson, I thought you had a proposal for the sidewalk.
Yes.
Okay, what I got on here, it says asphalt resurfacing related to roadway contract.
Are you referring to the exhibit?
I have no exhibit on here. Is that, I mean, I thought you had, you showed me three
Yes.
proposals for each item that we were looking at.
Yes, I think they may have not made it to this particular attachment, but we do have those proposals. They're the same ones, and we have
to
them.
here, because this is talking about asphalt. We're talking about sidewalks, and this is talking about asphalt. I'm not sure what this is here.
This is the Prince George's County Exhibit A.
Mr. Simpson.
Yes.
Mr. Simpson. I'm asking you, you did show me three proposals, one
From
from Church
NZI.
Street, one from.
Yes.
Could you just make sure that we get those so we can attach them to the legislation?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you. I do have a comment, and actually good news. So our grant writer, Mr. O'Connor, has gotten us a few grants, and he made me aware of a $3.5 million grant to do sidewalks in the city of Glenarden. And so my only, and that funding will become available with appropriations in 2026. Yeah. And so my only recommendation is that I know in here we have that this will come from the and I refer to Councilman Herring since you're the sponsor, that the $78,000 come out of the capital outlays, but wondering if you would be open to amending this to be covered under just to include the option of pulling these funds from the grant so that we can keep that $78,000 in our reserves.
Have we gotten any paperwork from, have you seen it? I mean, because again, that's in 2026, correct?
So that's why I said just adding the option or, because it says that it would come from a particular line item, and we can add a bullet that says, or add to that says, or available grant funds if, you know.
Those available grant funds won't be available till 2026?
Correct.
No, because I want it done in 2025.
Right.
We done waited 9 months now to get this sidewalk done. I want it done now.
Okay, and then that's why I
Nope.
floated that
Yeah.
option. Okay. All right, so with that, then I'm fine with moving forward. I mean, I'm pretty sure and this is for what streets?
Church.
Church Street. And there's some other
Glenarden
areas in
Glenarden
Glenarden
Parkway.
that don't have sidewalks, like on, I think it's at Tyrone, and so we can use that 3.5 million for that in the next session. So with that, we had us first and a second discussion. Is there any opposition to,
I would like to get a voice vote.
okay, for this resolution?
And
As is.
just so we move on, I just want to be clear before we move. So you do have attachments for all three of these, right? So I ain't got to ask this again.
Yes,
Okay. All right, just make sure they get to the clerk so we can attach them to this.
yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Madam Clerk, voice vote, please.
Councilwoman Fareed?
Yes.
Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yes.
Councilman Herring?
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones?
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Yes.
And Council President Curtis?
Yes. Okay, next one is a resolution to approve a proposal from NZI Construction for sidewalk repairs on Glenarden Parkway from Dalewood Ave to Eccles Ave. Madam Clerk.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Glenarden seeks to enhance pedestrian access and safety throughout the community, and whereas the city manager, in coordination with the Department of Public Works, has identified a segment of Glenarden Parkway from Dellwood Avenue to Eccles Avenue as a priority for sidewalk repair, and whereas NZI Construction has submitted a proposal dated March 2025 in the amount of $51,731.32 to complete sidewalk repairs along this segment, and whereas the proposed work aligns with the city's fiscal year 25 capital improvement plan and is eligible to be funded through account number 7632-30-80-10, whereas Council passed Resolution 4-2024 on September 5th, 2023 to award NZI Construction with an indefinite quantities contract, and Resolution 4-2024 noted that Prince George's County had conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded an indefinite quantities contract to NZI Construction Corporation, PG County Contract 932-H, to perform all road improvements specified in the county contract, and the city's bidding process in Section 818B of the city charter have been satisfied by the county, extending their contract with NZI until June 30th, 2025, whereas the contract extension is documented in purchase order number 41000-15486, issued by Prince George's County on November 22nd, 2024, and attached hereto as Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, that, number one, the City Council hereby approves the proposal from NZI Construction dated March 2025 for sidewalk repairs on Glenarden Parkway in the amount of $51,731.32. Two, funding for this work shall be drawn from the fiscal year 25 capital budget, account number 7632-30-80-10. 3, the city manager is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. And number 4, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this resolution is hereby adopted. And the last one is Resolution 55-2025, resolution to approve a proposal from NZI Construction for asphalt repairs on Hayes Street. Councilman Herring, I'm sorry. Council Clerk.
Not yet.
Whereas the City Council of the City of Glenarden seeks to address critical infrastructure improvements to ensure the safety and usability of city streets, and whereas the city manager, in coordination with the Department of Public Works, has identified Hayes Street as a priority location for asphalt surface repairs based on current road conditions, and whereas NZI Construction has submitted a proposal dated March 2025 in the amount of $134,863 to complete the necessary asphalt repairs on Hayes Street. And whereas the proposed work aligns with the city's fiscal year 25 capital improvement plan and is eligible to be funded through account number 7632-30-80-10, whereas council passed Resolution 4-2024 on September 5th, 2023, to award NZI Construction with an indefinite quantities contract, and Resolution 4-2024 noted that Prince George's County had conducted a competitive bidding process and awarded an indefinite quantities contract to NZI Construction Corporation, PG County Contract 932-H, to perform all road improvements specified in the county contract, and the city's bidding process in Section 818B of the city charter have been satisfied by the county extending their contract with NZI until June 30th, 2025, and whereas the contract extension is documented in purchase order number 4100015486, issued by Prince George's County on November 22nd, 2024, and attached hereto as Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Glenarden, Maryland, that the City Council hereby approves the proposal from NZI Construction dated March 2025 for asphalt repairs on Hayes Street in the amount of $134,863. Number 2, funding for this work shall be drawn from fiscal year 25 capital budget, account number 7632-30-80-10. Number 3, the city manager is hereby authorized to execute any and all documents necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. Number 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for a vote?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Herring. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Jones. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Herring?
This is to fix the space on, that they have marked out on Hayes Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so further up going toward Glenarden Parkway, there's actually another pothole coming up. You can actually see the dirt coming up now. We're running into the same issue. So I was wondering, can we just, I mean, it isn't big, so I don't know how much it's gonna cost, but I was wondering if we can increase this to, just to an amount of, let's say, $150,000. So that way we won't have to come back. And that's the council, because I can't. No, it ain't a big spender. It's just that I can't wait till December of 2026 to get a little pothole done.
No, this wouldn't be included in the grant for the sidewalk, so it will have to come out of our own funds.
I'm just saying, just take it up to a amount to cover that, because when they look at it, they probably can give you a quote on it, but I just don't think we need to go through this whole process all over again. When we get ready to fix Hayes Street, we might as well go ahead and fix it all at once. So I'm just saying, can we just take the, I don't think it's gonna be over, I don't know how much it's gonna be.
So, the only question I have is it budgeted? Because
Well, according to them, they got what? What you got in the budget for?
Is it, if we take it up to 150, is that in the budget or no?
Yes, I believe so. And just please also note that there are contingencies that were placed in that overall contract to do the asphalt and sidewalk work that I do believe will be able to cover the particular pothole that is starting to form or the cracks there. But I definitely yield to council if we want to add that there. But we are covered from that standpoint.
Vice President Ferguson.
So what is covered right now are the 3 that have been identified?
So I personally walk with the contractor at NZI, and so the markings that you do see is what we walk through. He did note it, I think, a couple of other areas that as we got into uncovering some of the source, or say to be definitive on what's causing that, if it's the cell phone, that he believes we should be able to cover that with no problem. However, I do think if it's the council's wishes to increase that, I can understand why.
Yeah, thank you.
Hold on. Are you finished, Councilman?
I am, thank you.
All right, Councilman Harris?
So you're saying that 134,000 will cover the ones I'm talking about? You think?
I would say I'm assuming as such. However, I do think it would be wise if you wanted to increase that by $16,000. There are contingencies that within the amount that we have allotted for the street and sidewalk repairs to cover that. Yes.
Okay. All right.
So to raise it to $150,000, is there any other discussion?
Nope.
Any opposition to passing the amended resolution up to $150,000? Hearing none by unanimous consent, this resolution is hereby adopted. All right. Moving along. So to save us time, we're just going to go through questions that council members have on the administrative reports instead of having you guys go through these administrative reports. And so with that, I'll open the floor to council on the reports for the mayor report, city manager report, public works, code enforcement chief, and treasurer. And Councilman Herron, I see that you have unmuted yourself. Please.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So I just want to ask Mr. Simpson, have the letters gone out for the rebate program?
No, they are slotted to go out first thing tomorrow morning.
Are there any other questions related to the administrative reports? I will point out that, and you'll see this in May, so I just thought that it was good news, so I wanted to share it with council members, that so we received $3.5 million in the infrastructure for sidewalks. We have a grant for $30,000 for gun violence reduction, $18,000 for body armor for the police station, $30K for surveillance systems, $30K for warrant and warrant programs, $50K for police recruitment and retention, and $9,500 for a community garden mini grant. And so those will come before the council in May, and we can discuss it at the work session with May. And all of those, the funding will be available in 2026.
The last one.
The last one was a community garden mini grant. All right, if there aren't any further questions on administrative reports, then we'll transition to our citizens' comments. Citizens first, let me say the American Legion wanted to make everyone aware of their Family Day that's coming up this Saturday, April the 26th, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 8201 Martin Luther King Jr. Highway at the American Legion. This is their annual American Legion Family Day. They have amateur radio, motorcycles, police cars, fire trucks, DJing food, bounce house, face painting, and many other vendors. They couldn't stay around to the end of the meeting to let people know, but wanted to definitely let you guys know again, the Glenarden, Maryland Family Day presented by American Legion will be this Saturday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 8201 Martin Luther King Jr. Highway. And for all those in attendance, there's a flyer on the back table. And for those who aren't in attendance, unfortunately, I do not have a paper to share with you. But I'm pretty sure you could check out their website and be aware. With that, we'll move forward with the rest of the citizens' comments. As always, citizens, please, if you're in house, I see one hand raised already. Please raise your hand if you have any comments. Please come to, when I acknowledge you, come to the podium, state your name, state your ward, and you have 5 minutes. I encourage you to ask all of your questions in the 5 minutes. Once you surrender it, if a council member starts to answer or the mayor starts to answer, that is included in your 5 minutes. So get all your questions down so people can write them down, and then again, use your 5 minutes wisely, because once you get to have other people talking, then that'll be included. So just want people to be aware so they don't think that we're taking from their time. And if you're online, please raise your virtual hand, and I'll call on you in the order that I see you. And if you do not know how to raise your virtual hand, just open your mic, and then I will make a note and put you in the queue for public comment. So with that, the first hand I saw was Mr. Cross.
Thank you, Council President, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I have some questions for you on your mayoral report. Being that you've been previously a master instructor, I'm looking at your report and it has some structure that doesn't match what you normally do. I'm looking at this printout now with March being separated from 2025, a big open gap in here. And it looks like your second page was scanned in. I know you usually do everything in a PDF. What's this blank space, and was this doctorate in any kind of way? That's the first question on your mayoral report. And next question would be, given our recent discussions around election procedures and ballot security, how might we work together to ensure that all protocols and board appointments reflect the guidance and of the city charter and continue to build public confidence in our local democratic process? Got it? My next question is, as Glenarden actively participates in the Prince George's County neighborhood planning cohort, what are some incentives we as residents and local partners might contribute to sharpening thoughtful, community-driven development plans for our city? Okay, next question would be, with new statewide legislation such as Eric's ID law and Executive Maryland Public School Act now in place, how can Glenarden thoughtfully explore opportunities to champion inclusive practices to support both education and disability awareness within our community? And this would be my last question. In light of the city engagement during the recent county's budget session, what meaningful steps can we consider to further advance priorities such as financial literacy, small business support, and housing affordability in alignment with broader county and state initiatives? And those are my 5 questions I have for you.
Okay, Mr. Cross, we'll try to get to all of them, but if it starts to take too much time, then you'll be able to speak with her afterwards. So she'll try to get to as much as she can. So hopefully she can keep the response to 5 minutes to respond to your 5 questions.
Okay.
All right? No, you can keep that going. Actually, you can put it back on 5 minutes. And just to be sure, you're surrendering the rest of your time for this answer.
Yes,
right?
I am. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, William Cudum. Hey, thank you so much for the question. So you asked a question about the mismatch. Yeah, the report has been doctored. I don't know who did that. However, what was there was, of course, the acknowledgement of the structural differences of opinion, I think, that we had relative to the charter section 1201, where 4 citizens were sworn in back in March. What was that date? March 17th by the council president. So, and again, we had some citizens, I think, pass 2 resolutions tonight, which, again, that's something that needs to be put back in there, because citizens need to at least see the oath of office being properly sworn in accordance to section 1201 of the city charter, which should be done by the mayor, not the council president. The other piece was, of course, we had a discussion, the city manager and I, about the Board of Elections. There was a ballot cabinet that had been moved into the unsecured conference room, and the key was, I think, kept by Public Works. So since then, the city manager has moved those cabinets back into his office, and so that, I think, will help with going a long ways into your next question, which deals with ballot security, as long as we got our city manager particularly as the key to that security. If we look at confidence in election practices, I'm just going to tell you it's weak across the city. A lot of people are very concerned about some of the things they've seen concerning this election. I mean, January, I turned in 10 names and 2 alternates for this Board of Election, 5 of which were sworn in. But then after that, there's been some, differences of opinions of appointees by the council exclusively. But I think we're going to sharpen the pen on that. No matter what, Glenarden has a May 5th election, and so the citizens can expect to see, hopefully, a fair and just process. We fought real hard to try and help that process along. So sharpening the plans for diversity. Eric's ID law was a huge win. Montgomery County House of Delegates, as well as the Senator, Delegate Wilkins and Senator Smith, took this to action. And I mean, it was a joy over the last 2 years to support them in getting those with autism, hidden disabilities like PTSD. Even this past law will allow those with, chronic illnesses like diabetes, to have an actually identification on their license. So when they are pulled over, cops will know how to address them. And every police officer will have the requirement of getting trained. And Eric's ID law did this for the state of Maryland. That makes them, I believe, 17 out of the 50. And we haven't stopped because I'm going to tell you, Mr. Eric and Miss Linda are dynamic duo when it comes down to fighting for those with hidden disabilities. And so with the county budget, we're going to fight for more input, if you will, for our local businesses. Our small businesses, if you look down here on Martin Luther King Highway, it's a tragedy. And more people are closing their shopping doors because we as a city are not doing enough for them. And we're not fighting enough to help the county understand that we have got to get some real development over in this food desert, Ward 1 and Ward 2. I mean, we got Woodmore Town Center, and as Senator Benson stated earlier, we got to make sure we get our monies for that because, again, as developments come in, as new businesses like Nike and other more expansive businesses come in, the city should be profiting as well. So those are some things that we talked about. And if we look at the burden of the state and what they have been doing ultimately to try and combat misappraisals, if you will, for particularly traditionally black communities like Glenarden, I mean, legislation, we've been at about 29 legislations have passed successfully through this 447th legislative session, which supports, appropriate appraisals, returning citizens, actually getting their right to fair assessment for housing and such. So there's a lot that has to be done in the school systems. Well, I mean, she's spot on. We've got to do more for Judge Sylvania Woods, and being over there and supporting at least 20 programs with them over the last year or two, it's very important that we acknowledge that there's a new principal in town, Principal Bond, and she needs all of our help. That school also needs to have some renovation for particularly roofing and stuff like that. So thank you for your questions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so just, all right, well, I'll go to your questions first. Go ahead.
I have a question. I have a concern.
Go ahead.
Just one question for the mayor. Mayor, did you submit your 2026 budget?
Yes, we did submit that budget. April the 15th, if you check your emails, you should have it
We
in your email.
don't have that. Nobody in the city has it. Not the city manager, not the treasurer, not the council clerk. No one has received the budget as it was supposed to be received on April the 15th. Was that your only question?
That was one question. Thank you.
Councilwoman Fareed?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to say I do have concerns about some comments that were made regarding the Board of Elections. Any body who is a candidate for office should not be having any contact with the Board of Elections, either directly or through other parties. And I would recommend that anybody who is running for office, refrain from having conversations or giving direction or anything to the Board of Directions regarding this election or past elections, just for ethical purposes and to ensure that there is transparency and that there is no illusions of impropriety happening, so that we can ensure that this election is free and fair. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of comments as well. Senator Benson has been fighting for more access to food for quite some time. She's documented the desert on Martin Luther King, and so it's not that the city has not been working with Senator Benson. Senator Benson has been fighting for us, and so we appreciate that. As it relates to the election board members, as it has been stated, I do have the authority to swear in election board members when the mayor abdicates her responsibility to do so. And in that case, at that time, the mayor refused to swear in members even though we needed them. And so because she did that, that enabled me as the council president to then swear in those members, which has been affirmed by our attorney and the chief of police and the city manager. Also, I agree with Councilman Fareed that all candidates should refrain from contacting the Board of Elections. And I think that was it. And I don't know if Caller Foster's on the phone now, on the call now, or Mr. Jones. I do see Mr. Jones, but if Ms. Carla was on, then we could swear them in. Now, Mayor Cross, are you willing to swear in Mr. Jones and Carla Foster?
Are they online?
Mr. Jones is, and I do not think that.
She's on tape.
Okay, we'll get back to that in just in case she signs on. Well, are you willing to?
Are they online?
Mayor Cross.
Are they online?
Can you allow me to finish, please? Thank you. If they are online, are you willing to swear them in tonight?
That's my 1201 requirement. Yeah, we'll do that if they're online.
Okay.
I don't see them online, though.
Yeah,
One is online. Okay.
I don't. Maybe you can't hear me. One is online. Councilwoman Fareed just said that she'll text the other individual and they'll come online. Thank you. I see. Sorry. Next up is iPhone Eli. I'm sorry, I don't have a full name, but the next person in line to speak for citizens' comments is, I believe, Eli. It says iPhone Eli online. Did you still have a comment? Okay, I will come back. Ms. Jones, Tarsula Jones. I apologize if I messed up the first name. You could correct me.
That's okay. Good evening, everyone. My husband and I are citizens of Glenarden. We moved to Glenarden in 2021. We actually live right beside the American Legion building. We have had some major problems with that building, disturbing of the peace every night, every week for at least 3 times a week, with loud bass coming through our living room and our bedroom. My husband and I both work. I am a PG County school teacher. And we have trouble lots of time going to bed because of the noise that's coming from that club next door. My husband and I have a text that we started with Captain Robinson and Commander Will about all the noise that we hear each night. We also text daily, getting them to turn their music down. So what's been happening, Captain Will will come on sometime, but majority of the time he does not come on. But Captain Robinson does come on, and he has sent several of his staff members to that location to have them turn their music down. That is disturbing the peace of my husband and I. So we need help from the city because since the last meeting, nothing really has changed. We appreciate Captain Robinson and his staff for trying to help out, but nothing has really changed. Seems like it gets worse and worse each and every night. My husband and I have been contacting PG County Police Officer for their help as well, because we need someone to help us to get this disturbing of the peace to stop. We love living in the city of Glenarden, but with this problem that's been occurring, we don't know. We like the fact that we bought the home, but sometimes we question ourselves, was this a good buy for us to move here with the noise coming from the club next door? We have got text from Commander Will stating that we are the first persons that have ever complained about the noise from their club. And he also told my husband and I, we have a text with him saying they've been there since '92 and we're the only ones that have ever complained. So we have a problem believing, we don't believe that is true, but we really need help from you all.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. I don't have the code enforcement officer here, but Chief Bryan is here if you want to come and speak on that.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, Ms. Jones. I've been working with the code enforcement manager, Mr. Green, and we've been working with Prince George's County DPI. We got a couple of things we're trying to work out with the post and with the county. One of the things is they're trying to get the county to enact the noise meter. So we're working with them in reference to that. Besides that, anytime we get a call, Captain Robinson or any one of our officers, we go there and we talk with the DJ or Mr. Will and try to get them to turn the music down stuff. Most of the time they'll turn the music down stuff. But that's something we're working on because that's starting to become a problem all across not only City Glenarden but the county. So we work with the county to find out how we can better mediate that problem. So we are working with it. And matter of fact, Mr. Green and myself, we had a meeting in reference to it last week. So I'll follow up with him tomorrow so he can contact you and see what other measures that was taken in reference to that. But we are on it, and we're sorry you're going through this. But once again, if you have any issues or concerns, just make sure you call us, and we'll try to continue to work, have the police officers respond up and speak with them at the post. But most of the time when we go up there and talk to them, they turn the music down. But we're working on it, and Mr. Green, I'm pretty sure he'll follow up with you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is, I'm sorry, Vice President Ferguson.
Chief Bryan, I thought there was a law that if you can hear it, then it's too loud. And also, is there any way that that fines can be implemented?
We fall in the county in reference to it, and they implemented noise meters, and that's the way they're measuring the noise. Because if you can hear it, it's still got to be a certain decimal. Something higher to you might not be higher to me, so that's the way they go by measuring it and stuff. But most of the time, we'll have the officers go by, and if the officer go there and they can hear it and it's loud enough, we ask them to turn it down, try to mediate the situation. Because like I said, we're getting that call, the weather's changing, so we're getting the calls at different locations across the city and stuff. So the noise meter will be, I think, one of the best remedies for it. And once they implement the noise remedy, we can once we read a certain decibel, we'd be able to issue fines in reference to that. But just from the naked air, issuing citations, not the best way to handle that.
So are the meters something that the city needs to purchase?
We're following up with the county in reference to that. Mr. Green will be able to give more information in reference to that, because that's what we're trying to do also in reference to it. And if he can purchase it, make sure we get some for the police department, so if we're 24/7, because we get the calls all day and all night. And they start to pick up in Ward 3 a lot too, so that's something we're working on. And like I said, I spoke with Mr. Green last week about it, so we'll be able to do a follow-up. He's working with DPI, so he has the actual contact, so we'll be following up in reference to that. And we'll give you the information you need, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you. Chiefs, the document that I received from Prince George's County said if you can hear it, it's too loud. So now you're telling me that they're going back to using the decibel meters?
From the meeting I had with Mr. Green last week, from the meeting he had with them, that's the route they're going.
The meeting with who? DPI or the police department?
No, with DPI.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the directive I got was from the police department, Prince George's County Police.
Okay. Well, he was telling me about DPI.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. So I'm going to get to citizens' comments in a second, but it's going to take us maybe just 2 minutes to swear our new election board members in. So if Carla and Dion Jones can turn on their cameras, and then Mayor Cross will swear you in. Miss Carla Foster, is she?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
There we go. And Mr. Jones, we just need you to turn on your camera as well. This will only take less than 2 minutes.
Leave her alone. It's 10:22.
Mr. Dion Jones? Oh, boy. All right, I'm sorry, Miss Foster. So we're just going to take one more comment, and then we'll come back to you. So please just hang on until Mr. Jones is available.
He has his hand up, Council President, but I don't know why he's not answering.
Yeah, Mr. Jones.
This is actually not Dion Jones, the one that you are swearing in. I'm actually Tasha's husband.
Oh, okay.
We just happen to have the same name.
Oh. Well, Ms. Foster, since we have
I'm
you.
on, I guess I can comment.
No, Ms. Foster, if you could just come back on camera, and then we'll just we'll swear you in, and we'll get around to Mr. Jones later.
Does she have to come off camera?
She has to be on camera. Ms. Foster, thank you for your service. There we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. All right. Mayor Cross.
Hi there, Ms. Foster. Thank you so much again for volunteering to support this Board of Elections. Very important job. So this is in accordance to Section 1201, the oath of office. Are you prepared for the oath?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you can raise your right hand. Sweet. And repeat after me. I, Carla Foster.
Carla Foster.
Do swear.
Do swear.
That I will support.
That I will support.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
And that I will.
And that I will.
Be faithful.
Be faithful.
And bear true allegiance.
And bear true allegiance.
To the state of Maryland.
To the state of Maryland.
And support.
And support.
The Constitution.
The Constitution.
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or
prejudice,
prejudice,
execute the office of
execute the office of
Board of Elections
Board of Elections
for the City of Glenarden,
for the City of Glenarden,
according to
according to
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and laws of this state.
Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
For your service, we appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Hello.
I don't think they can hear us. Let me try to send a message to them. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, hold on, let me see.
Oh, okay, well,
Oh, wait, somebody said something.
Excuse me, everyone, we couldn't hear you. This is Councilwoman Guillaume. We can hear you now. Can somebody say something? Somebody in the chambers, can you say something?
yes, we can hear you, Councilwoman Guillaume.
Okay, and I think we on the line can hear you now. We couldn't hear you before. Thank
Can
you.
Okay, Mr. Funches, are you there? Okay, so we'll come back to him and we'll go on to Mr. To Eli, the iPhone.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, well, Mr. Funches, you can proceed, please.
Okay. Hey, this is Elton Funches, Glenarden resident. I live over here across from the community building, the playground, actually. My question is there a plan in place to do anything about the speeding on Glenarden Parkway? As you all know, we've had about 5 or 6 accidents right here in the vicinity of the community building, the playground. There are kids that live up and down this street, Glenarden Parkway, and it's just a speed trap. You know, people come in and out of here. We got dirt bikes, we got 4-wheelers, we got 18-wheelers, we got cars. The thing about the vicinity of the area is that there is a bend in the road as you're coming from Glenarden proper, as I call it, up through the new community. There's a curve, and people like to take that curve and they press down on they seem to press down on the acceleration as they are negotiating that curve, which causes all the accidents. So is there a plan in place to put, some kind of speed bump or something in the road to get these vehicles to slow down? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, there is a plan. As you know, there's been a big fight to turn over the streets from D.R. Horton to the community, and it's been a long battle, and that historically has prevented us from doing anything on the streets. But I have been in communication with our attorney as well as Councilman Fareed and City Manager Simpson, as well as Thank you. To see if we can move forward with the speed bumps, as it is definitely a traffic safety emergency. And we just got the green light by our attorney, at least verbally, to move forward with the project. And so we're looking to nail it, to the approval down in writing, so that we can further move forward with the project. But we hope to be in contact with the attorney to get something in writing so that that can be nailed down and move forward. We do understand that it is a big concern, traffic safety, not just in Woodmore, but across the city. As you can see, as you know, Councilwoman Jones produced the ordinance, the emergency ordinance for stop sign safety and camera. And it's 3 places in Woodmore that is going to help, but I could definitely understand that curve on Glenarden Parkway and the speeding that is taking place. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Simpson?
No, other than you are correct there, we are awaiting final confirmation from the attorneys.
Okay. So we are aware, and we are trying to work diligently to get that up and going, as you know, it is very important. So, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. iPhone Eli.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, thank you. I couldn't get my mic going the first time. I just want to reiterate against the resolution 0, what was that, 010-2025. I would like to know, get answers from you guys. How parking a vehicle, how is that going to, stop economic growth and preserve the life of the city as stated on line 36 of this document? There's just a certain vehicle is parked outside on the street. As far as I know, every citizen pays taxes. And on the second page or the third page, it says that you can't even have a pickup truck under 85,000 pounds parked on the street. I mean, what kind of sense is that? That's nonsense to me. We're paying taxes yearly, and this is just ridiculous. It's going from crazy to crazier and crazier day by day. I mean, it's just not making any sense. Are you guys thinking about how this is going to affect people? I see that the penalties are $100, $250 for second offense, $500 for the additional offenses. And I see that you guys are bringing up a plan for city employees, which is not bad. I definitely agree that the city employees probably deserve to have, better benefits and probably a better pay. But are you guys considering that this is not, the economy is not going the right way, and people, as you mentioned earlier in the meeting, are losing jobs? Are you guys taking into consideration that adding a burden to the city is going to affect the community? Majority those who are not making that much money, and they're paying mortgage, they paying taxes, and here you guys are going to come and say, hey, you can't park your pickup on the street. What if those people have 2 or 3 vehicles? They have a wife or a spouse, I should say, and a child who has a car. They need more space. What if their driveway only has space for 1 vehicle? And it so happened to be that pickup truck may not fit in the driveway because it might be big. But yes, it fits on the street and it doesn't impede traffic. Are you guys considering this?
Okay, thank you. Councilman Fareed.
Thank you so much for your comments. When that portion of the legislation was put in, it was in response to comments from citizens that the large vehicles were obstructing their ability to pass through the streets, particularly on the smaller streets where if you have two pickups on either side of the street, they would not be able to pass through, and that could be challenging for even emergency vehicles to get through. As we've implemented that, we recognize that there's some modifications that are needed, and that is what the council is working through on what is the best way to address that particular issue where cars should be able to pass through the street. And what we were addressing also to point out is that the complaint was that commercial vehicles were blocking the streets, and those commercial vehicles were oftentimes pickups and vans. And the thinking was, well, if it's a pickup or van, it doesn't matter what purpose it's being used for, it's obstructing the street. And so that was why that was put in there. We are happy to review that and make modifications, but I think one of the challenges that we're going to have in the city is that it's going to be difficult to please everyone. It's almost like a whack-a-mole situation. We have, a group of constituents who will come forward and bring, like the complaint that I just stated, and then another group of constituents who are bringing forward the complaint that you're bringing. It is going to be very difficult to satisfy everybody's needs in this city. I think that we have the authority and the ability to pause the enforcement of that code, which is what we have done, while other solutions are looked at to be more just more feasible for the city. So thank you for your comments.
Okay, one last thing. Thank you for responding. Earlier in the meeting, you guys also mentioned about doing a feasibility study for the police department. I understand the police department needs more space. I know for a fact they do need more space. But as council member Harrington, I believe, he brought up the gentleman on the right when we're facing you guys. He brought up the the seniors nutrition center that is needed. And I don't think that we need to spend more money on getting a feasible study when you can look and you can tell there's not enough space for the police, even if you took that whole space. So why even spend our taxes, our money on getting a study that you already know is not going to work? It's not going to be enough space for them. They need more space. And on top of that, we can't take this program from the seniors, from the city. I don't think that's the right way to go. That would be my last comment.
Thank you, sir. And that piece of legislation failed, so that there won't be a feasibility study on the nutrition center. So thank you for your comments. Sorry, Councilwoman Fareed.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, because I think this has been missed, is that there is no current nutritional program happening in the nutrition center. I think Councilman Herring raised a great point around reinvigorating that program. But just to be clear, there's no current program happening where seniors are coming to the nutritional center to receive meals currently. So any modification to the nutritional center would not impact them being able to get meals or otherwise. Right now, that space is being used for social recreational purposes, which is important for all generations. So, I just wanted to make it clear that we're not stopping seniors from being able to receive meals by making any modifications to the nutritional center as it stands today.
Thank you. And just to add on to that, the renovation of the nutrition center is in hopes to reinvigorate that actual program so that we can have more seniors come to the nutrition center to get benefits, nutritional benefits. It will just be at the dime of the city, as is no longer supported by the county because they have their own program, but that does not preclude us from having our program for the citizens of Glenarden. So that, we're
Is the Gold Room a space available for the police?
no. But thank you for your comment. We appreciate it, and our seniors are at heart, and we're looking forward to getting that program up and going once the nutrition center is ready to have that program again. All right, with that, Councilwoman Guillaume.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to make a broad comment that there are so we are the council for the city of Glenarden, but there are council members for the county, for Prince George's County. And so oftentimes we get stuck as council members for this city, for this municipality, because we have to follow the laws that Prince George's County passes. So this is more so for Mr. Eli. I hear you. I feel you. But when you mentioned the part about the 8,500 pounds, that was not the city of Glenarden. That was Prince George's County that passed that law as far as how big a vehicle can be in Prince George's County, period. So because of that and because of our charter, we have to follow what Prince George's County is doing. So I say that to say, if possible, please try to look at the schedule for when Prince George's County meetings are held, the city council meetings are held. I'm sorry, the county council meetings are held. I apologize. And make sure you raise your concerns. Go to the county council and tell them exactly what you said and see if they'll be able to change it. So in turn, we as a city can follow what they're doing. Just wanted to say that, Council President. And thank you, Mr. Eli.
Thank you. Did you have something?
Yeah.
Councilman.
Before we leave, or
no, there's one more hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
And
Go ahead
so
with
there's
this
two
comment.
things that we're going to do. There's one more hand, and then we're going to we'll swear in Mr. Jones since he's now here, and you just have to come to the podium, sir. And then we'll talk to get Ms. Crutchfield, and then Councilman, I'll come back to you.
I want to say a very good afternoon, or good evening.
Is that on?
Madam Mayor, Council, everyone, Madam Clerk.
Yep.
Chief. I'm sorry. Turn your mic on.
I'm sorry for the late intrusion and whatnot. I'm just coming from urgent care. I wasn't feeling good, sinuses, so, but I'm here, I'm dedicated, so.
Well, we can try to make this swearing in as quick as possible.
Okay.
Mayor Cross?
All right, thank you so much, and we appreciate you being here as well. And you came all the way in. You could have got online.
I was, but I heard y'all calling my name, and I just got home from urgent care, but I said, let me run down here.
Okay, well, we hope you're well
This is
because
important.
we all been suffering. This has been a bad one. All right, thank you so much for volunteering to be here this evening with us. So if you will, repeat after me. I, Dion Devin Jones,
I, Dion Devin Jones,
do swear
do swear
that I will support
I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will
and I will
be faithful
be faithful,
and bear true allegiance
true allegiance,
and bear true allegiance
and be a true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support
and support
the Constitution
the Constitution
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill
in the best of my skill
and judgment,
and judgment,
diligently
diligently
and faithfully,
and faithfully,
without partiality
without partiality
or prejudice,
or prejudice,
execute
execute
the office of
the office of
Board of Election
Board of Election
for the City of Glenarden
for the City of Glenarden
according to
according to
the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of this state.
and the laws of this state.
So thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Crutchfield,
Good evening.
good evening.
I wanted to ask about Ruby Lockhart Boulevard. I know you all mentioned something about the streets being turned over. This Ruby Lockhart Boulevard in front of Silver Diner is a racetrack. We have to do something to slow people down because as the summer progresses, spring progresses, we're going to have tremendous accidents. Since I've been living here since 2018, there have been so many accidents in that circle because of the speeding. It's just going to escalate. So something needs to be done like soon as possible. I don't know if the streets have been turned over. I'm not up on it. And I heard you all mention something, but I wasn't present. But something needs to be done. What can the council do to stop the speeding as well as the accidents that's going to happen like every week once the summer progresses?
Councilwoman Fareed?
Thank you, Council President. So Ruby Lockhart is a county street. We have been in conversation with the county, I can't think of the department name off the top of my head, along with Councilmember Jolene Ivy, for that issue. Unfortunately, we who live in the area recognize that it is an issue. We witnessed the accidents, but the data regarding police reports or other data for accidents in that space do not suggest that it is as dangerous as it is. So with that being said, we were not able to implement some of the measures that we wanted to with the traffic mitigation plan that was laid out last year. We can recircle back with the county now that there will be a new county executive. Perhaps there will be a different perspective around how to be proactive in taking measures as opposed to trying to wait to gather what whomever considers to be sufficient data, which in my opinion is just not the right way to do it, because we basically are waiting for accidents to happen to then say, let's do something about it. But the best course of action to take is to continue to reach out to our county representatives and ensure that they are made aware, not just from the city council, because we are representing the city, but we cannot represent you as well as you can represent yourself when it comes to advocating for things that are happening in your community. So I would encourage you to reach out. There's the traffic mitigation plan that I think is posted on the city website. You can go there and see what the measures are. We put them in order of priority so that you can go in and advocate for those specific ones. I think there may also be the contact name from that department that, I'm sorry, I'm so tired right now. I cannot recall the name of that department, but it wasn't Deep High. It was another additional department that was involved in, they did make some changes. They made some of the changes on St. Joseph's and on Ruby Lockhart across St. Joseph's on the other side, which incidentally, that is not Glenarden. I know some comments were made earlier about Lytle. Lytle is not, that's not within the city of Glenarden. But that is who we have to work with. So I would encourage you to reach out to Councilwoman Jolene Ivy's office, her chief of staff, Amy Chang, and continue to voice your concerns there.
Thank you. I will definitely be in touch with
Okay.
whoever I can speak. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that is the last comment of the the last comment of the night. Final comments to council members. I'll go to Councilman Herring first, and then Councilwoman Guillaume.
Yes, on this past Saturday, April 19th, we had our Councilman Harrison and myself hosted our third annual expungement fair, and it really turned out really well. We registered over 300 people. I think we saw about over 100 and probably about 150, probably more than that. It was a great event. The weather was perfect. We partnered with the State's Attorney's Office, Aisha Brayboy, and her staff. You know, again, this could not have been done without the cooperation of a whole lot of people. Again, I want to thank the council for funding it, and the council members came out and helped. Councilman Kate Guillaume, Councilman Derek Curtis, Councilwoman Angela Ferguson, and Councilwoman Robin Jones. They all came out. They worked computers. They did whatever, wrapped hot dogs, whatever needed to be done. They came out and did it. You know, Councilman Harrison, he did. Of course, we partnered. He pulled in like 10 volunteers himself. He brought in, and they really kept those lines moving and kept them going. We had a number of citizen volunteers. Again, I want to thank Ms. Carolyn Smallwood, Ms. Celestine Wilson, Ms. Alita Hunter, Mr. Dion Devon Jones, who just left here. They came and they just jumped right in. Again, definitely our city staff, Mr. Charles Simpson and administrative staff and the public works team. Chief Bryan and his police officers were there. They kept everything going smoothly. Again, the Gold Room staff. Admin, you know, Ms. Schultz, she was working the front, and of course our council clerk, and definitely Michelle Cheek, because she does all the running around, and her daughter Lamika, and she does all the running around. One thing I'm gonna tell her though, don't get those hot dogs again next year, because those hot dogs were not great. But again, it turned out really nice. I want to thank Silver Diner because they donated breakfast, and we got lunch from them. It was all for a good cause, because we just gave a lot of people came away from there very happy that they were able to get their records expunged and that they get a second chance, because again, with these charges on your records, it hinders you from jobs, it hinders you from housing, it hinders you from a lot of things. And whether you're guilty or not in the state of Maryland, they'll put you in case search no matter what, you know, and you're going to have that stigma out there, which I think they really need to look at that. Because it affects a lot of people in a lot of negative ways. So again, I appreciate all the help. The State's Attorney's Office, Aisha Brayboy, she came out. Judith Danzo, Q Lattimore, Isaac Botang, the municipal liaison, and Sean Wilson was a consultant there. So again, I really appreciate all the help with this program. Again, I can't do it by myself. Me and Councilman Harrison, we can't do it by ourselves. We need a team of people. And like I said, again, everybody pulled together and did an excellent job. So again, thank you all for all your help. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Guillaume.
Well, I was going to say thank you to It never fails. Every time I'm going to say something, somebody else beats me to it. I was just going to personally thank Councilman Hairston and Councilman Herring for putting on such a great event this Saturday. This particular expungement fair hit personally for me because I was able to have not one but two of my nephews get their records expunged who were wrongfully charged. Although they were proven not guilty on everything, it was still a hindrance and a burden and a barrier on there to have that type of stuff, or well, any type of charge on their record. So from the bottom of my heart, from my family to yours, I just personally want to thank the two council members and Community Legal Services and the State's Attorney's Office for basically doing the right thing as it pertains to restorative justice and reparative justice. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Guillaume. Are we all good on the dais? All right. The time is 10:54. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.